What's going on, guys? I hope you guys are well. What's good? What's good? What's good? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. It's good to have you guys in the stream. Um, Leave your comments. Yes, brother. What's going on, boxing historian? I hope you're well. Um, I hope you're good. I hope you guys are staying safe wherever you are around the world, wherever you're keeping. Guys, let's talk some boxing. There's a lot to go through, man. There's a lot to go through. There's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to talk about. So I want to get into it, guys. Make sure to smash the like button in the live stream so we can get more viewers. I'd really appreciate if you can smash the like button. Let me leave a link for anybody that wants to get on. There you go. There you go. So if anyone wants to jump on, you're more than welcome to jump on. So boxing historian says, is Davey Fulton? Bro, change channel name. Has been working on doing a totally different type of channel, mate. Fair enough. What's going on, Davey? I hope you're good. I hope you're good, Davey. I hope you're keeping well. You know, we talk on our chat all the time. Hope you're well. Yeah, what's good? What's good, people? What's good? Get your questions in. Smash the like button. Cito's in the house. What's going on,
What?
brother? You good?
None, brother. Just here, man. Finally.
Yeah, man. It's good having you on, man. It's good having you on. Long time no speak. You keeping well?
Nah, man. I'm keeping up boxing, man. Just at work, yeah.
Fair enough, man. What do you make of this new story coming out that Canelo may fight Beterbiev next? What do you make of it?
I have always been wanting to talk more about Canelo right now, just because I'm a huge fan of his. Um, I don't know, man. The rumor that I've been hearing is that he was supposed to be going down to, I mean, not going down, going up to fight Makabu. Or
Mm,
I've been hearing also that Usyk wants to come down only if he's conditionally allowed to keep his heavyweight belts
yeah.
to fight Canelo. Everybody's trying to fight him for that big pay.
Mm,
Um, to me, it makes sense for him to go to 175 and start collecting the belts there, like clean up shop and be a two division undisputed champion. That I think that would be like history in the making because I think Macabre's got to fight his mandatory in February. So unless they're gonna go ahead and pay off, whoever Macabre's opponent is, step aside money to make that happen, which we've seen happen a lot. Um, I don't know. I think that would be a great fit for Canelo to go up to 175 and start claiming some belts. Why not?
do you think Usyk would be a step too far though?
At cruiserweight,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Usyk's a great fighter. He's a great fighter, and I think he's a naturally big person, like as far as like, size and height.
Mm,
I think he outclassed Canelo, maybe by a slight edge. Maybe that's not being biased, not favoring anyone. I honestly would say he could probably outclass him just a tad bit because he has that footwork and he definitely has the size advantage. But Canelo has the power and the speed in the sense that he obviously doesn't walk around like at 200 crazy pounds. Like Canelo, like at max weight when he walks around, he's probably like around 180. And the guy's not super tall, and he's not short either. He's like what 5'9". So I think Canelo can pull it, man. I mean, it's a toss up. Against Macabo, I think definitely Canelo has the speed. I don't think he's got power, but I think speed hurts. So, I mean, my point of view.
all right, fair enough. Fair enough. Um,
This is
yeah,
just like
I'd have to agree,
look
man.
at comparison. If I just, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just give you
yeah.
just a quick story. Remember when back a couple years back when Margarito went down to 150, even if it was a catch, it wasn't a 154, but 150 to fight Manny Pacquiao. Remember what one of Manny Pacquiao's sparring partners said? He says speed kills, and it's true. Think about just this motion just constantly hit you dead in your face at rapid speed, consecutively. I'm pretty sure Margarito wasn't feeling Manny Pacquiao's punches the first couple rounds, but he had that one welt. What did he doing? Just tagging it. You know, if Canelo were to find an opening in Usyk or in Makabu and just literally just hit away at it, yeah, that's the only way I'm saying the speed advantage would be consecutive as far as defeating your opponent. Again, Usyk, as far as like mobility, slickness, you know, that weight, 200 pounds. You know, he definitely he's a lefty. He's comfortable at that weight. So I mean, toss up, man. Just toss up.
Yeah. So what do you think the realistic if the Makabu fight don't happen? Do you think he'll fight someone like Beterbiev at 175?
I think he would. I think he would. He's a free agent. He's not afraid of going in there. It's 175, dude. He's already gone there and beat the WC champion. What, regardless of what anyone says, oh, Kovalev was washed up. Kovalev is not the crush. No, no, no. The guy went in there. He signed the contract. He knew what he was doing. He had a good 10-week training camp. He went in there, fought Canelo. He had size, power, everything over Canelo. Canelo just went up. He destroyed him, man. So I mean, I don't believe that, man. You know what I mean? Kovalev wasn't washed up. Kovalev was he prime Kovalev like that? No, but the guy wasn't old. The guy was still pretty youthful. You know, he just went back to back, and you know when he beat Yard, he went straight into Canelo. He had what, an 8-10 week training camp. He signed the contract. He had a payday. You know, I'm sick and tired of saying people like, "Oh, Canelo cherry picked." No, he didn't, man. If I come up to you and I say, "Hey, I want to fight you next. This is how much I got. This is the condition. You can't rehydrate." If you sign that contract, who does that fall on? Me or you?
Yeah, me for signing the contract.
Exactly. So can't blame the other fight. Can't blame Canelo, man. He just saw the weakness where the hole was at. And he went for it. But I mean, it was still a competitive fight. It was at another weight class, and Canelo pulled the trigger and he did it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Beterbiev would be a very, very dangerous fight for Canelo as well because he's big, he's strong, he can punch, he'll pressure Canelo as well. And
He's
if
one of those
Canelo
hardcore
can't really
crazy
hurt him.
like he's like what is he? He's Russian, isn't he? Beterbiev
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. Russian.
dude, those Russians are tough, man. They're just their
Yeah.
boxing edge, they're just their mentality. Just think about it. Russia has produced a lot of like I want to sit there and say this is Russia. Overall, the what is it? Eastern Europe.
Yeah,
Eastern
yeah,
Europe
yeah.
is a proper way for being expressive because all countries, like even like Triple G, just look at Triple G. Like
Mm.
people that come from and that he's technically what Euro Asia content, like the Asian content, but Euro Asia. There's some tough people, man. Like condition, the weather, mountain, the airflow that doesn't come up because they're above sea level. Just the way they train, man. They got that mentality of just like that grit, just like that iron sheer will. So I mean, I think you're right. Batavia will give Canelo a tough fight. It's
Mm.
I still give the edge to Canelo though, man. I think speed will do the most amount of damage.
My
You know what
man
I mean?
Steven's in the house. Steven, what's going on, man?
What up,
What's
Steven?
cracking, man? How y'all doing, man?
Having
Hey,
a
what's going
wonderful
on,
debate
man?
at unboxing. Having a wonderful debate on boxing, brother.
Okay. What we
Steven,
talking about today? Yes.
I wanted to come on to Conor Ben, but obviously,
Mm-hmm.
I know you left a comment about saying that Canelo Usyk's fantasy. You don't think it's going to happen, but Barbaram said that Canelo has expressed interest in fighting Beterbiev next. How interested would you be in that?
Well, that's an interesting fight, man. Um, it's more, it's a more realistic fight
Mm,
than Usyk. I
mm.
mean, I think Usyk is that's just talk right now, but Better Beef is a real legitimate possibility. I
Why
think,
are you
man,
so against Usyk? Why? I know you're not.
that's kind of tough to.
You know what, Stephen? You know what? I know you're against like all these crappy fights in terms of what you call them crappy in terms of where you're talking about Javante and Thurman. Like you don't really like these guys moving up and fighting these
You know,
unrealistic fights because It's just the other guy's just too big. Do you know what I mean? I know you're against that. Do you think it's just a
Yeah.
non-competitive fight?
I wouldn't say it would be non-competitive, but it's kind of futile, man, because Usyk's so big. He's his frame is what do you say anatomically? He's
Yeah,
such he's somewhat bigger than the Canelo, man, and
Yeah,
it
he would
just wouldn't
also
be a
have to
fair
shrink
fight.
down.
I mean,
Yeah, he would have to shrink down 20 pounds too. Remember, he came in with Anthony Joshua at 220.
hmm
And
yeah,
I honestly don't
that
think
could
that
hurt him.
Usyk.
Stephen. That could hurt him. Because
yeah, it could
imagine if
hurt him.
Usyk cuts down, right, and he's drained. Because Usyk's big, Usyk's 6'3", and he's a big guy. Even at cruiserweight, he was massive. So him cutting down
Mhm.
that weight now, I don't know whether that'd be healthy for him. He's a big guy.
Uh,
Usyk's massive.
so
So
what would they be fighting at cruiser?
yeah, cruiser. He never said heavy. He said cruiserweight. He said I'll come down and to cruiserweight to fight Canelo. He said it. Canelo didn't say anything. Usyk said that I will in an interview that I'll be willing to come down to cruiser to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's basically the one that's calling Canelo, like calling Canelo's name, not Canelo calling his name.
Well, that's bully talk. If I didn't hear it that way, that's bully talk. Because Usyk is he's typically he really is a natural cruiserweight. I don't really see him as a legitimate heavyweight. I see him running into a big brick wall if he go up against Tommy Gypsy King Fury.
I'll
I
be right
mean
back.
Tyson Fury. So I don't know, man. What y'all think? Y'all think that's a? I mean, I think that's a weight class that he's naturally comfortable at. Um, so where my man go? Why he get off? He
I
was
don't
gonna let
know,
him
man. I don't
talk.
know where he's gone. I don't know
But
where he's gone.
yeah, man, that's. I mean, Usyk is a natural cruiserweight. That's where he's comfortable at. That's where he was king at. That's where he was really housing dudes and really putting dudes on their pockets. It was at cruiser. I don't know. Could Canelo want that work, man?
Yeah, I agree, man. That's a dangerous fight. What
My
do you make
wife
of
just
Bivol?
walked
Did you
in.
see Bivol's fight?
Yeah, man. Oh, man. Man, you know what, man? I seen your video and you were talking about Bivol and you said that you picked Canelo to beat Bivol.
Hmm.
Man, I really like Bivol. I like Bivol
Hmm.
more so than Better Beef.
Really?
Bivol got the skills to pay the bills, boy. That's my dude.
You think he
Bivol,
beats Better?
Biv,
Yeah, I think Bivol beats Better Beef. What do you
Wow.
think?
I don't know, man. I just think Bivol. See, Bivol to me comes across as one of those normal opponents that Canelo fights, where, like, I think he's good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's better than the guys that Canelo's been fighting, but I just don't think he's got the power to hurt Canelo, man. And I think Canelo. I don't know, man. I don't. I'm still not convinced with Bivol. Like Beterbiev, I know I've seen him. He's a monster. He's got power. Do you know what I mean? He can wipe you out. Bivol
Hmm
can't wipe you out, and I
hmm
don't know. Like he'd have to outbox Canelo, Stephen. He'd have to get on his jab and outbox him, and that, as we know, that's hard to do against Canelo, man. He's very powerful. If Canelo, like, I don't know. It's a good fight, man. It's a good fight, but I just think stylistically, Beterbiev's a better fight. I think Beterbiev's a harder fight for him. Because look, when Canelo fought Golovkin,
Yeah,
he struggled with him,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Canelo's.
I like
I
your.
feel Beterbiev's
Go
a
ahead.
bully. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm Yeah, yeah. I liked your analogy when you said that Better Beef he's a larger, more destructive Gennady Golovkin because he is more and Canelo seems to really have an issue with those types of fighters. If you look at he struggles with those slick boxers, but those rough, rugged, and raw fighters like Golovkin, he really struggles. You know, uh, those fights, the victor of those fights, the winner of those fights were indecipherable. I mean, you couldn't even tell because they pushed Canelo so hard. I just think that Bivol he's gonna be hitting Canelo with everything but the kitchen sink. And I think, because Bivol did a lot of sparring with Benavidez. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. What, for this fight?
Not for this. I just one of Benavidez fights in the past. I think it was I don't know who it was, but he, Bivol was saying that he did a lot of sparring with him, and he was saying that Benavidez got the goods. But I say all that to say this. Bivol, don't underestimate his punching skill, his punching power. I think that's what you do a lot. I think that's what you're doing.
It's probably because I've seen a few fights of his, and he's kind of labored. You know what I mean? He's going through the motions. Like I saw him against Richards, and he went kind of through the motions. That guy's like a British level fighter, and he didn't look impressive in that fight. I don't know. I'm not sold on Bivol yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of them where I've seen quite a few fights, but I'm not sold. Like, but probably because Beterbiev's just knocking dudes out. You know what I mean? He's bashing dudes, and he's got. Listen, here's the thing: Beterbiev's got a hard fight Friday against Marcus Brown. Marcus Brown can fight, Stephen. He can really fight.
Yeah.
You know what? I
really
would be surprised if there's an upset in that fight, Stephen. Brown can really fight. Really fight.
Yeah, he can, man. He really can. I'm like you. I wouldn't be surprised if if he pulled the upset. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, but I hope he doesn't, because I really want to see what happens with Canelo. I don't think that fight with Makabu is going to go through. I think they're going to pull out of that fight for obvious reasons. He's getting a lot of slack off of it, and I think everybody wants to see him compete at 175. So I think he'll go to 175 and challenge the guys up there. And I think he has a more his prospects and his dreams are more attainable at 175 as opposed to cruiserweight.
Plus, the other thing is, Stephen, him becoming undisputed at 175 is a legacy thing anyway. If he can do that, him going up to cruiserweight and fighting a weak champion, I don't really think that does much. Like, let's be brutally honest, him beating Beterbiev does more for his legacy than him going up and beating Makabu. Yes, on paper, he can say, I was a 5-weight world champion, but you just beat Beterbiev. You beat the boogeyman at light heavyweight.
Yeah. Because don't nobody want to see Beterbiev right now. I mean, Beterbiev, man, he is the boogeyman of 175, and everybody fears him. I don't even think that's why him and Bivol ain't fought yet, because I think there's some trepidation with Bivol. He don't want to see them hands Beterbiev got. You know what I'm saying? Beterbiev is a for real killer. You know what I'm saying? We talk about killers all the time. He's a killer. But it'll be interesting to see what Canelo can do. You seem to think that Canelo is all right for Beterbiev. I'm not so sure. I just think he punches like an ox, man.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm not saying no confidence, man. I even said that I won't be surprised if Beterbiev knocks him out, or I don't know, man. Canelo gets put down for the first time in his career. You know what I mean? Because thing is with Canelo, Stephen, he's so tough. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's like a Iron Man. You can't really hurt this dude. Like, I've never really seen him. I've never, like, when he was young, he got wobbled, but like him and Golovkin, their chins, even Danny Garcia I'd put in that category. Danny Garcia's got a granite chin as well. Some dudes just have like granite chins. You just can't. Like, and the other thing is, Stephen, Beterbiev can be hurt as well. He's been put down a couple of times. He can be hurt, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Against Canelo, with his kind of punch selection, Canelo might be able to hurt him.
Yeah. You know what, man? It's funny that you say that, because I was watching Canelo and I think I told you this before, but I was watching Canelo and Amir Khan. And Amir Khan was hitting him with everything he had, man. And Canelo just looked oblivious to it. He looked like he didn't even feel it. he has to have one of the best top 3 chins in all of boxing. What would you say?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I'd say number one has to be Golovkin. I don't think there's a guy
Mm,
with a better chin. I wouldn't even say. I say Golovkin's got one of the best chins in the history of the sport. That dude's never
mm,
been hurt, man, ever.
yeah, I ain't never seen him rocked,
Yeah,
but I ain't never seen Canelo rock though. Have
yeah,
you?
yeah.
I
Never,
ain't
never
seen
I haven't
Canelo
either.
hurt.
I haven't. No, Stephen, a question for you, Beast Killer. Do you think
Mm,
Canelo will surpass Mayweather if he is undisputed at 175?
yeah, I think so. Yeah. See, man, listen to me. Listen. Mayweather is we create these gods. We create gods. We create idols of worship. We create all that, and we created a legend in Floyd Mayweather. Floyd is only revered because he went undefeated. But if you take everything in consideration, you know, his feats were it wasn't something that I think, you know, I think it's achievable if you work at there's a lot of undefeated fighters. Andre Ward, you know, Andre Ward he fought stiff opposition. But we created a legend in Floyd Mayweather because of how he portrayed, how he carried himself, how he promoted himself, his charisma. You know, we just wasn't getting the fighter. You know, you just get the fighter in Andre Ward with the undefeated record, but you got the personality, the legend of Floyd. That's what we look based it off of. But out of everything that he's achieved, if Canelo go to 175 and wreck shop there and house everybody there, kill everybody there, you gotta put him over. You got to. You will absolutely have to. It wouldn't even be a question.
But do you think? Here's the thing, man. Floyd beat. You know what? Little Penny made a point the other day that Floyd beat a lot of
Mm-hmm.
all-time great, like no, I would say all-time greats, but he beat a lot of Hall of Famers, Stephen. Canelo hasn't really beaten a lot of Hall of Famers, do you think? Like how many like Floyd beat a lot of names in the sport of boxing, like names like Mosley, Cotto, Oscar De La Hoya, Pacquiao, you know, he's beaten a lot of top names, Diego Corrales, Ricky Hatton, um, he beat
Yeah.
the other guy, Agati. He's beat like
Mm-hmm.
that isn't a joke. I know some people will say, well, oh, he beat them at the wrong time, or that is that's a resume, Stephen. And Canelo's resume, although like we don't put Billy Joe and Caleb Plant and Danny Jacobs in the same class as the names that I just mentioned. Do you know what I mean? So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. It's a tricky one. How do you see that? How do you see
Well,
that?
let me say this. Let me say this, Imran. We don't put them in the same category right now because we're living in the present.
Hmm.
10, 5, 10, 15 years removed, we're gonna look back and we're gonna say, damn, that Danny Jacobs was a hell of a fighter. We're gonna say we're gonna say some of the other people he fought. I can't think of right now, but you know, some of the Billy Joe Saunders, you can say, damn, he was a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? You know, you become great after your time has passed. And that's what happened with Floyd. We looking back and we're saying, you know what I'm saying, we seen Chico and we say, you know, everybody knows Chico for being a gangster, being a killer in the ring. You know, same with you know, Arturo Gotti, you know, some of the other, you know, Ricky Hatton, all those other people. We revere them now because time has passed. But when time passes, enough time passes, we're gonna see that Canelo's opposition were great too.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. And the fact that he's still going, do you know what I mean? He's still going.
Hmm.
He's still. And let's not forget Floyd. Again, where do you stand on this when Floyd beat Canelo? Where do you stand on that? Do you think that Canelo was too young, or do you think Floyd deserves a hell of amount of credit for that, or do you think that was good matchmaking?
No, I don't think you deserve no credit for that, man. You were dealing with you know, dealing with the next great champion of boxing. You know, and he was green. He was a little green. I know that you say you don't believe in that, but I mean those are facts. I mean he had 41 fights, but he was on an up and coming. And Floyd was the lion. He was the current killer of the sport. So
Okay,
nah, man, I don't really give him. Go ahead.
Imran, I gotta answer. I'm hearing some blasphemy on the
Yeah,
show
go
today.
ahead.
I was just gonna sit back and listen, but so first let me answer some of the things that are being said.
Hmm.
Um, so
Uh-oh.
people people don't look at Floyd as some great all time great because he's an undefeated record. You're right when you said that a lot of fighters have undefeated record, but there's context. Floyd beat 23 champions out of 50, so his
Yeah,
resume is
good point.
as good as his resume is as good as anybody. He beat the guy who's considered alongside with him the best of his generation, which is Manny Pacquiao. And he also beat the guy who many consider the best of this current generation, which is Canelo Alvarez. And you can argue, well, it's not an argument. He beat the guy who was probably the third best of his generation, which is De La Hoya.
He beat the pay-per-view star with De
Yeah,
La Hoya.
and De La Hoya, the difference between De La Hoya that fought Mayweather and the one that fought Pacquiao, De La Hoya was way more motivated to fight
Mhm.
Mayweather. He did not like Floyd at all. You could tell. But Pacquiao, by that time, he underestimated Pacquiao as just a small guy, and he was basically 1 foot out the door, anyways.
But what I was saying was that if you give enough time, after enough
Mhm.
time surpasses, we're gonna look back at the position that Canelo fought, and we're gonna say the same things. We're gonna say, oh, well, he beat this person, that person in the third, and we're gonna revere them like we do. The only
No.
reason why, again, the only reason
Mhm.
why you don't. I think that's true, man. I think it's a fair.
I
I
Daniel
think that's a fair
Jacobs,
argument.
we are not going to look at Daniel Jacobs as an all-time great fighter. I'm sorry. He was like a B-class fighter. He was good, but we're
yeah.
not going to look back, oh, Daniel Jacobs, he was that guy. No, he's not. Triple G, yes, that's a good win on Canelo's resume. That's a shiny win on his
I
resume,
Mhm.
but
I do
Daniel
agree with
Jacobs not up
Reverie.
there.
I agree with
What
Reverie
about
there. I don't think we're gonna look at Billy Joe and Caleb Plant in years to come like we do Cotto or
Yeah,
Mosley. We're
I
not.
bet Billy Joe's like just, I know it's got nothing to do with boxing, but Billy Joe is just a bad
what?
person. Like, he's a shitty human being, and he's
What?
all right boxer. He's okay.
But see, I mean, you gotta say because Canelo he beat Shane Mosley, he beat
He
Cotto,
beat a old Shane
he
Mosley.
beat,
He
But
beat a
Floyd
washed up
beat Floyd
Mosley.
Floyd
but
Floyd
he
beat an
still, I
old Shane Mosley
mean,
as well.
How old?
Shane wasn't
Yeah,
in
but
his
it was like a
prime.
5-year difference. That was the Shane. That was the same Shane Mosley that knocked out Margarito, a guy that a lot of you claim that Floyd ducked.
Yeah. But again, I think it's not necessary about at world class level, the styles make fights. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not like, yeah, that guy beat that guy, but that means that Floyd right?
Also, one last point,
Yeah.
Imran. Floyd at the beginning of his career, unlike Canelo, was ducked. Pretty boy Floyd, nobody wanted to smoke with him. That, to me, that version of
everybody
Floyd
wants
before
smoke
his hands
with
got,
Pretty Boy.
yeah, nobody wanted to smoke with Pretty boy Floyd before his hands got fucked up. Am I allowed to curse on here?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, go on.
Okay. Yeah, before his hands got fucked up, people did not want to fight Floyd. They saw the skill and the speed. So he just had to make minor adjustments. How many fighters will be able to adjust styles like Floyd did when their hands get fucked up like that? Not many, right? So Floyd gave you and not to mention the longevity. Like, I know a lot of people don't like Floyd, but like, you got to give the guy credit. Like, it's not easy to do what he did. He wasn't perfect,
100%.
obviously. But, yeah, he wasn't
No,
perfect, but
I'm not.
Canelo, yeah.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying that he doesn't need any credit. I'm not saying that. yeah, you know what I'm saying, praises like go to like you said, I just gave him, when he was a pretty boy, he was a killer, he was a gangster. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying that you can't. It's too early to say. Number one, we talking about this prematurely. It's a little too early, too premature to say how we gonna look at Canelo. But right now, he's on track to it. And if he goes
Okay.
up and he beats the guys at 175, you're gonna have to give him the nod
Yeah.
over Floyd.
I'll give him a lot of credit for that. But one last thing we forget about Floyd is he was in more 50-50 fights than Canelo. Not just 50-50 fights. Floyd was in a couple fights where he was the underdog and won. How many fights has Canelo been underdog or been in a 50-50 fight? Think about it.
Against Floyd.
Against Floyd, which he lost. But against Chico Corrales, pretty sure Floyd was underdog in that fight. Against Gennaro Hernandez, people were saying, "Oh, you're too young to fight this guy already." He won that fight. Against De La Hoya, he was a slight underdog as well, on top of being the B side. So, and some people view the Canelo fight as a 50-50 fight because he was older, and Canelo was the young, hungry champion. And the Pacquiao fight was also a 50-50 fight. So, yeah.
That's why I said earlier, I think Canelo, Little Penny, what's your take on it? Because I know you said something in the comment section. I've mentioned you earlier about Floyd fought a lot of great fighters, whereas Canelo hasn't got that kind of competition.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Just to get back on that comment about the De La Hoya, the Canelo Mayweather fight and the Pacquiao Mayweather fight. I was at that Canelo Mayweather fight, and the betting odds were definitely on Mayweather. He wasn't the overwhelming favorite, but he was the heavy favorite. I was at the MGM Grand in there. What do you call them? Like where all the sports betting odds were, and Mayweather was definitely the favorite. The Mayweather Pacquiao one, Mayweather was definitely the favorite. In fact, from memory, the odds for Mayweather by unanimous decision, Las Vegas took that odds out. No one could bet on that because that was.
But it was 50-50 though. It was more. It was a slight favorite, but it was more around 50-50.
No, I don't know about that because at that time you could bet on a Pacquiao unanimous decision, but you couldn't bet on the Mayweather decision because they took that out because that was like the most obvious outcome.
Who am I speaking to right now?
I give credit. I give Mayweather credit at 130 and 135 because he took on the best. Like he took on Jose Luis Castillo. He took on Diego Corrales when no one wanted to fight him because he was knocking everyone out. And I give him credit for the Hernandez fight, even though Hernandez was washed. I don't know if you remember, like 5 years before Mayweather fought Hernandez, Oscar De La Hoya fought Hernandez for the 130 belt. But he didn't have to take that fight because he was so young at the time. I'll give him credit for that. But in terms of what you guys were talking about the 50-50 fights, post 140, dude, he was the favorite nearly in every single one of those fights. And look, to be honest, and I'm a Floyd Mayweather fan, he cherry-picked a lot of those fights. And just to answer Imran's question, I will give credit to Canelo if he beats Usyk at cruiserweight, and I will put him in the same bracket as Floyd and Manny. But before that, I can't do it because if you look at his resume, he's only really beaten two fighters that's in their prime or near their primes or have held lineal belts, which is Triple G and Cotto. You can't put in Kovalev because he was washed up.
Cotto was washed too.
You can't put Mosley in there because he was washed up by the time Canelo fought him. So I can't put him in the same bracket as Pacquiao and Mayweather because, but his career is not over yet. So and Canelo, if you look at his resume, if you look at it fighter by fighter, and when he fought him, he just doesn't have the fighters to. He's a great fighter, by the way, but I can't put him in that same bracket as Mayweather and Mayweather and Pacquiao yet. Maybe in the future, but not yet. As what Steve was saying, it's a bit too premature.
Imran.
Mike, let's get some others. Mike and Nelson, what do you guys make of what Little Penny said? And then Rare Breed, you can go.
Okay.
Mike?
Let Mike go ahead.
Yo, what's going on, Mike?
You guys hear me or no?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. What's up, Steven? Smiling already. Like, okay, it's about to start. No, I Lil Penny, you know, he good points, man. But I just don't think that we can compare because Floyd is that's what he has. He kind of masks his resume. He has those names, but we know that the majority of those names were not in their prime. So it really depends how you want to, break Floyd, and then you compare it to Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is not going to be able to have that many names in his career. It's impossible, especially in this era. Because how can you become a Hall of Famer in this era and fucking fight? Who fights nowadays? In order for you to be a Hall of Famer, you build a strong enough resume to get in. But if you're in an era where you're not fighting, how can you even get in the Hall of Fame? You're not going to be able to get in. Floyd was still king. You know, Floyd was in an era in the 90s where guys were, things were not as bad right now in terms of like the choices that fighters make. So you had guys like Cotto, Manny Pacquiao. You had Morales and Marcus, and guys who were constantly fighting, top guys, and the culture. Now the culture has changed a lot. Canelo Alvarez is kind of one of those guys who kind of seems like he's old school. He stays active. He tries to find ways to and see. But we could bring up a lot of names that have, in terms of the eye test, that have the potential to maybe be in the Hall of Fame, but they're not going to have the resume to be in the Hall of Fame. It's up to the people really to kind of break down resumes and then whatever you value most, then that's what it comes down to. If Canelo does any of these guys, he's going to have to do it in different ways. He's going to have to do it by fighting multiple champions, multiple divisions, maybe an undisputed, like Steven said, try to be undisputed at light heavyweight or something like that, which would be fucking crazy. Because I don't even think he's a light heavyweight, but he to do it with names not there. And guys, so even when he retires, we don't know what Kelly. We don't know what's going to happen with Daniel Jacobs. We don't know what's going to happen with all these other guys. They might have had potential, but I don't know what's going to happen to be in there. Another thing that that stood out is let's say someone brought up Oscar De La Hoya, right? I'm going because to me this is the key to my argument. You look at the guys that Floyd fought, right? They have names, right? But let's say I replace Oscar De La Hoya. Who the hell beats Oscar De La Hoya if he fought the same guy Floyd fought? Who beats Oscar De La Hoya? In other words, Steven brought up a similar point. You could put up another name, another great fighter, and have them the exact same route that Floyd took, and they retire undefeated as well. Same shit. If you give them the same physical advantages, if you give them the same weight class, who would beat a guy like Oscar De La Hoya? Marcus? We know he wouldn't do that.
Mosley, dude,
right?
Mosley.
Cotto wasn't going to beat a prime Oscar De La Hoya. Yeah, but Mosley was in his prime when they fought, and he was on EPO. and he beat Oscar De La Hoya on EPO. So think how good De La Hoya was.
So, Mike, are you saying that
He beat Oscar twice.
Going to be
So, Mike, are you saying that Oscar De La Hoya would beat Mosley when
in his prime?
when Oscar fought? Yeah. So you're saying Oscar would beat Mosley when Oscar fought De La
Yes. Let's say.
Mayweather?
No. Oscar would have beaten that version of Mosley if Oscar De La Hoya was same state.
Speculation.
Floyd Mayweather. There's no way if when he was on EPO, what makes you think a 38-year-old Mosley would be a prime Oscar De La Hoya?
He was not 38 when he fought Floyd.
Yes, he was.
Like 32.
He was pretty young.
38 years old.
He was
So
old.
how
He
old
was
was he
old.
when he fought Canelo?
No, I'm talking about Mosley.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Mosley.
Mosley was about
38.
40, man, when he fought Canelo. I mean, sorry. Mosley was about 40 when he fought Floyd.
Was he?
He was
I'm
around
sure Mosley was about 40
and then when he fought
Floyd.
Canelo,
He was
was
old,
2 years.
man.
Yeah, and I
old.
disagree with Mike. I think any stage Mosley beats De La Hoya. That dude was a killer, man.
Yeah, but you're bringing up the prime Mosley though, right?
I'm saying at any stage.
Right.
No, I'm saying at any stage.
You're saying a 38-year-old Mosley beats a prime De La Hoya.
No, not that. I'm talking about prime for prime. Both of them in their prime. I'm always gonna take.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. What I was trying to say, bro, Mosley. If you take when Floyd fought Mosley, that version of Mosley, and you fighter, another great fighter, a lot of would beat that version of Mosley, that 38-year-old. Remember, guys, right. People forget Mosley 3 years before. Cotto beat Mosley years later, bro.
But you know when?
So
Mike,
the beat was actually better.
Mike, let me ask you a question. Firstly, I'll ask you two questions, right? I'll ask you this one. I can't remember. I was going to ask you two. So Eugene is asking, Canelo got 7 more years. He can easily surpass Floyd, right? And do you think? I was going to ask you something about. Mosley. Let me think of it. But yeah, that question Eugene is asking. Does Canelo got 7 more years? Could he surpass Floyd? Remember, we're talking about Canelo as if he's finished. He's not.
Right.
Imran, you're making a hell of
on that. You guys know how I feel about that. I'm gonna have to give it to Nelson, because I think the point that he brought up weeks ago is right on point, bro. You know, he gave the metaphor of the painting. How I look at boxers. I look at boxing overall. You know, it's just what you value and what you like. That's what it is, because you can't match. It's impossible to match.
No, it's not. It's not what you. Excuse me.
To compare resume.
It's not what you like. It's just what it's worth. It doesn't have to do with an emotion. It has to do with the worth of it. It's an inflated topic. I mean, just like Floyd's fans and his career, overly inflated. Floyd fans make good points, but they have a lot of blind spots to the points they make. Right now, when you look at them, Canelo will be like 14 carats and Floyd will be like 10 carats.
What do you mean by that?
The value of what they bring. You see, if you look at boxing like a company, right? Any company, you will have to say who's the guy that brings the biggest value to the company. And right now, Canelo offers more value to the company of boxing than Floyd ever did.
How so?
Oh no, Nelson, I don't know about that. Nelson, just to answer
Yeah,
this
it's
Because if you
question.
look
ridiculous.
at, but let me
There's
finish.
no,
If you
there's
look,
no.
let me make my point.
Let him
Floyd,
finish.
Go on.
Floyd,
Let Nelson finish. Let Nelson finish. Go on.
I
Floyd,
have to agree. I have to
Floyd,
agree. Nelson
Floyd,
said though.
Liz, Floyd in his moment, there was no heavyweights. No heavyweights were in that time. Most of his career was based on lightweights that had to fight each other because at that time, those lightweights was the only way they were going to make money was to fight the other top guys. His era was kind of dry, with the exception of
Yeah.
Pacquiao. Canelo is in a, and then you have to consider, and I always tell people this: after 154, these guys cannot be fighting like lightweights because you can get hurt at that weight class. From 154 up, you got to be very careful how you maneuver a guy's career because it's not as easy as 147 down. You can make those mistakes when you're lighter, but as you get heavier, as we know, it gets more dangerous, and the room for mistake is just so vast that. But I mean, to compare them right now, Canelo has all for more. And I'm not a fan of any of them. I follow the talent, I follow the greatness, I follow the sport. I'm not a fan of nobody. But if you was to look at Floyd's career, his fans will make 4 points and miss six of them. You understand? They will miss a lot of the things that get wrong. Look, there's a reason why Floyd's mad. The reason why he's responding the way he's responding should tell everybody on this panel everything. We all know that when someone's responding like that, something inside of him is telling him he's being left behind. You
Yeah,
know, he made the mistake with his legacy because he went
He's in.
after the money. He went after the money. Do you
yeah,
understand?
true.
And by doing that, he harmed his own legacy, and he knows he's left uh kind of a fool's gold legacy. You know, it's valuable, but once again, it's a 10 carat legacy. You know,
Yeah,
that's
Nelson, I agree. Nelson, I agree with you. The fact that when he took the road to least resistance at 140 and up, you pay a price for that because, and he's paying for the price for it now, where his legacy is tainted. But the thing
Mhm.
is, he does
Canelo's doing it.
have the
Canelo's
fighters.
doing it with Joshua, Fury. You know, you got these heavyweights on here now, Usyk, and he's even being put out there to fight. Even these guys. I mean, that's insane. I mean, that's
But Nelson,
insanity to
Nelson,
believe. But to be doing it in this time when you have the heavyweights that are activated, and like I said, at that weight class, 160, 168, 175, these weight classes, that's not like a Marquez, man, that's coming up from
yeah.
135. That's not a Zab Judah. That's, you know, that it's not the same thing. You know,
But Nelson,
it's not.
Nelson, you were saying about value before, about a
Correct.
value in a company. One way
Mhm.
to measure that is by the numbers or
Correct.
by the dollars. And for
No, not
Mayweather and
not the
Pacquiao
numbers.
to
The
do,
numbers don't lie, but they don't say the whole story. You
yeah,
understand?
but the
So,
thing is, dude, for Mayweather and Pacquiao to do
Yeah.
over 1 million pay-per-view buys on a
mhm,
consistent basis, plus
yeah,
Mayweather has, if you look at all of the pay-per-view records, like the top 10, Mayweather's probably got 8 of them. And you
correct.
have to give
And
him
one of
credit.
them, yeah,
Yeah.
and this is the reason this was because there was no heavyweights. You know, there was nothing at that time. When go back, look at the career, who were the heavyweights? Who was involved? He pretty
Yeah,
much had
but
a
dude, but
7 year
dude,
span.
but
He had
dude,
a
dude,
7 year span,
pre,
7 year span of pretty much all beneficial to him. Where
but
Canelo's
Nelson,
had, mhm,
but Nelson, pre Mayweather and Pacquiao, if you look at the pay-per-view buys, the highest pay-per-view was I think was like before Mayweather and Pacquiao were really popular.
I think
The
so.
Was it
the
Lennox
highest
and Mike?
pay-per-view was Oscar De La Hoya Mayweather. I think it was 2.4 million. The second highest was Mike Tyson and Lewis. So
Lennox.
even then, the
yeah,
non-heavyweights.
and the third highest was Canelo with Floyd. Canelo's been on pay-per-view since Floyd when he was 23.
And
So
Canelo
it,
has been
it,
able to do those numbers since.
what happened?
Canelo
No,
has not been able to
because the
match those
no,
numbers without Floyd.
no, because the model changed. The model changed.
No,
They went
no, he's just
into
not as
live
big as
streaming.
Floyd.
Yes, it did. Live
He's not as
streaming.
big as Floyd. He never will be.
Yes, he will. Worldwide, he
No, he
is.
won't.
Yes,
No,
he
he
will.
won't.
Worldwide, he
If
is.
you ask the casual
No,
person on the street, they don't know who Canelo is.
no.
The only people who know Canelo are
You
boxing
just
fans and
you don't
go,
know what you don't know.
no,
That's
it's
the
the truth.
problem. You're like a
It's
guy
the
that walks
truth. You
down
go on the
the
street
gallery
right now, ask people who
and
Canelo
starts
is.
putting
Look,
$15,000
look.
on
Arguing.
Floyd could be a
I will
voice.
say that I
Nobody
don't
knows who
think
Canelo
Floyd
is
is
Yeah,
a
outside
bigger
look,
of
but
boxing.
superstar than
Nelson,
Canelo.
it's good.
It's not even close.
Floyd
What?
fans
Yeah, I think
inflate
he
his
is, man.
career.
He is.
And look,
Remember, Nelson,
let me give you
Floyd,
an
like,
example.
if we go on social media, Nelson, if we go on social media, Canelo has like, what, 8 million followers on Instagram? Floyd has
Yeah,
like 27 million or something. Like,
that's
it's not even.
fine. But
It's not even
you see
close.
the thing, and that's fine. That because you're popular, that doesn't mean you're worth more. You understand?
Oh, no, I'm
So
not saying, I'm not. But you were saying that Canelo's bigger than, like, how do you mean he's bigger than Floyd? That's what I'm saying. I don't get
You did
your.
say that.
because worldwide, when you involve in the world, not just Floyd's bigger than Canelo in the USA, but
Oh, here we
Canelo's
go.
bigger than Floyd in all. Canelo can match him in the USA, might be down a few percentages, but when it comes to South America or Central America, you're talking Europe, you're talking Canelo's known more, and not only that, he's respected more. You know,
Nelson,
Based
I
on
don't
who?
live in the
Based on what?
USA. I don't live
and
in
that's
the USA, so
That's
I
not
can't
true.
answer that
He's
if he's more
dead.
popular. But I will
He's
say here,
dead.
I live in England, in the UK, and Canelo's not bigger than Floyd in the UK.
of
No, it's
course
not
not.
even
He's
close.
no.
Like
You mean
Mike Tyson's bigger
It's
than
because
okay?
Floyd.
Nelson. Hey guys, but hold on. The problem here is that guy and Floyd Mayweather, who's been retired, he's been retired. By the time
No,
Canelo
that doesn't
And
retires,
he's
make
still
a.
somehow
The,
I'm not saying he is.
it's like
He's going to
the
be more
same
popular.
argument. This same
He's
argument.
going to be more. He's going to have
I
more
was having the
followers,
same
but
argument.
he's going to be known more 10 years.
The same
Yeah, good
argument
point.
I had the same argument with people, and I hate bringing it up because it's just you have to understand the value of stuff. You understand? You just have to understand the value of something first. Um, it in a worldwide setting, and I know that I think it was Imran. He made a video about comparing to Mike Tyson and how Mike Tyson's an icon and Ali is an icon. In today's time, the spotlight is on a lot of people. You have a lot of competition out there. You even got the spotlight on engineers. Back then, Mike Tyson was popular. To get, the spotlight wasn't shared by a lot of people. It was
Let
not
me
like
say
today.
after this,
It was
Nelson.
different then. It was
After
very
this,
different.
Nelson. I think you made some real solid points, man. You speak from the principality, from the principle standpoint. But in terms of measuring renown, familiarity with these fighters, you got to think about the American market is there might be twice as many people or 3 times many people in South America. That is true. There's a lot more people, but American, and it shouldn't be this way, but American culture dominates and it sets the trend for the world. So everybody looks at the American culture, and people like Floyd, they're just bigger than boxing. Floyd is bigger than boxing.
No, Floyd
Muhammad
is
Ali.
stuck in the
Hold on,
past.
wait, just 1 second. 1 second. Wait, one second. 1 second. Muhammad Ali, he was bigger than boxing. Mighty Mike Tyson.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali was on a different level.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali, you can't compare anyone to him, man.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, you can't
he's
compare
different.
anyone to Muhammad.
So whoever made the
You
comment
can
earlier,
compare them as a fighter. You
But
can't
this is
compare them as a
but we
person.
can't.
As a fighter, you can compare him because, to be quite honest, Muhammad Ali as a fighter, he was okay, but as a person, he was bigger than that. He transcended.
Nelson, you be
Muhammad
saying
Ali
some
was
shit.
okay, dude. Man, that guy
You
fought
think
the
you don't think Muhammad Ali was great, Nelson?
Yeah, of course. But I'm just saying that when it comes to putting someone else in the ring with him, there's many fighters I will pick to beat him. But as a
Muhammad
person,
Ali
you know,
was
as an
Muhammad
icon, no,
Ali
you know.
Nelson. Muhammad Ali
But if
was
you
with the
look at it,
beard.
let's say for an example, look at Muhammad Ali when he fought Joe Frazier, right? Look
Yeah.
at how tough Joe Frazier was for him. Imagine if you
Yeah.
swap out Joe Frazier for Mike Tyson. How many rounds do you give Ali?
I
I
don't
think
know.
Because
Joe
if
Frazier
On
would
Foreman,
beat
if
the
Mike.
same thing,
Frazier
we could say,
lasted
look how
12
tough
rounds, if
Foreman was, and he
Frazier
beat
lasted
Foreman.
36, and Frazier is pretty much Mike Tyson, the baby version. So if you was to take Mike,
No man,
if
no,
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 you
no,
was
no.
no,
to,
no, no.
yes, yes,
Nelson.
it is.
Joe Frazier was way better than Mike Tyson because Joe
What?
Frazier would last.
You are
Mike
crazy.
Tyson would
Mike
always
fought in
win
the
in
super
in his
heavyweights.
fights.
Mike fought in
No,
the
Mike
super.
Tyson, dude.
Look, Ali was a
Look,
cruiserweight for Mike Tyson. I mean, that's just a fact. So I'm just saying, look, Ali is great, but in a sense of picking a fighter to beat him, I would pick plenty of fighters to beat him. But to be bigger than him as an icon and the representative of boxing, hell no, I would never do. I
So
would
who would
never
you
put.
pick then, Nelson? Nelson, who would you pick to beat Muhammad Ali? Because most people rate him as the greatest heavyweight of all time.
Well, I just gave you a name. If you
Mike,
compare the
you
fight,
pick Mike.
Mike
Who
Tyson
else?
would be one. I would think that George Foreman, had he been a little bit older, because people forget that Joe Foreman was 21 years old, and he was flown out to Africa. You understand, and kept over there for 5 weeks. Had broken his arm. If Joe Foreman had 25 years old, I can see him stopping Ali.
Nelson, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something.
I can see Lennox Lewis being a problem for Ali. I can see Fury
It's
being
because
a problem for Ali. You know,
Steven,
Yes,
so
sir.
as a
Steven,
person, as an
this kind of
icon,
reminds me
no.
of a conversation you brought up way back, bro, way back. Remember, see when you were giving up you gave an analogy on hip hop and how whatever, right? How rappers, what Kendrick Lamar is doing today, they weren't doing in the 80s, or Rakim, for example. That's what Nelson is trying to get at, to a certain extent. You know, there's big ass fucking heavyweights today that if you match him Ali, maybe all of a sudden Ali's kind of undersized. You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
Hard to compare the eras in that sense.
But you know what?
But
To
the
go
thing
back
is,
on
though,
even though they might not be greater,
to push
even
back on you, Mike.
Ali, even
To
though
push
Ali be
back on you,
greater though, Ali still
to
might
push
be greater.
to push back on Mike, Ali actually style does good with taller guys than it does with shorter guys. He fights taller guys a lot better than he does shorter guys. A
But
guy like
Nelson, he had a lot of trouble with Ken Norton. He had trouble. Norton.
yeah, but I'm just saying if in a style setting, Ali does good with a taller guy than he would do with a shorter guy. You know, if you was to put, I would pick Lewis. You know, but taller guys wouldn't be too much of an issue for him. It would be the compact guys like Tua. Let's take for an example. People forget David Tua. You put David, you know, he likely to knock him out of night. People forget. There's been a lot of heavyweights that's come and gone. Once again, I'm not comparing Ali as the represent, you know, the icon. I'm talking about the fighter. And I believe that a lot of Floyd's fans inflate his career too much to the point where it's watered down.
Yeah.
You know,
Floyd and Ali shouldn't even be put in the same sentence.
Look, if they're giving Floyd a lot of credit for winning a match against Canelo, and I'm gonna question this: are we gonna give Floyd credit for winning the 5th title when the 5th title was against Canelo at 152? Are people gonna give him credit for winning a junior welterweight title when he actually drained Canelo to 152 for winning that title? I think that's an automatic no. You understand? He doesn't get credit for the 5th title because the 5th title was the junior welterweight, which he forced Canelo to come down to 152 for him to win. So that's already inflated that he's got 5, titles in
I mean,
5 different
Nelson,
weight
I agree with you on that point. But Mayweather has already grabbed that title when he beat De La Hoya for the lineal 154 title.
Yeah, and what was the weight class? What was the weight again?
154.
154. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
against De La Hoya.
against De La Hoya. Wow, De La
But I
Hoya,
agree
and
with
all,
you
and,
about that
and all,
152 catch weight. I think that was highly unfair because Canelo was already having troubles making 154 at that time, and he was the lineal champ, I think, from memory. And Floyd forced him to go to 152. Yeah, I agree with that. That's an asterisk on
and
that.
what Floyd fans come out and say? Listen to some of the comments. What Floyd fans come out and say? Oh, he said he would do it. So if he's the one that say he would do it, then no. I mean, he said that because he was looking for the fight. But it seems like for Canelo, we don't make the same kind of. It's like we have two different standards, and we tend to inflate one and deflate the other. We inflate what Floyd has done and deflate what Canelo has done.
We could have
That's what we're playing.
disagreements. We could have about a lot of
No,
things
but
like
we
right
need to.
now
But
on
we
leagues
need to
about
leave the
records.
bar. But we
But
need to.
hold on.
But
No,
the
I
bar's
get you.
gotta
I
stay
get
where
you.
it's at.
I'm agreeing with you.
You
But
gotta leave the
what I
bar
was
where
going to
it's
bring
at.
up is
You
that
have
that
the
Floyd
habit
fans
of raising
are
and lowering the bar.
delusional.
You know, we raise the bar for some and then lower the bar for others. Leave the bar where it's at.
It's
Everybody
not the
gets
standards, bro.
the fair.
That's the thing
The
about Floyd
fair.
fans. They're not the same. They don't use the same standards. Like, for example, let me just say something real quick that just it was, I laughed, but I just held it in. Rare Breed came in and had the nerve, just to show you the different standards. He had the nerve to say Billy Joe Saunders was a piece of shit person. Imagine that, but he's talking Mayweather. Imagine that. I mean, that's the type of, those are the type of that you get from Floyd, bro. It's like they
But
live in another fucking planet.
It's
Like
it's that
Floyd beat his wife. Floyd said racist comments
no,
about Manny
no. It's not.
Pacquiao. Floyd says
He's
even his
rather.
own people. He dissing his own black people. And but
No,
all of a
no.
sudden
Come on.
they're focused on Billy Joe Saunders. They want to focus on Billy Joe Saunders that he's the bad guy. To be kidding me.
No, but it should tell you enough by watching what Floyd is saying, the way he's talking. I mean, come on. I mean, we're grown men here. We know when a guy's talking like this, something's wrong. There's something is inside of him. There's just, it's not right, and it's because he's heard it through the grapevine that Canelo is valued more within than he is. That's just a fact.
Yeah, but
That
Nelson,
boy is
Actions, look,
that's a 45-year-old
actions,
guy behaving like a
LP.
boy. That is funny,
Actions
man.
speak.
This guy
Actions
needs
speak
to
louder
grow up.
than words. Actions. What Nelson's saying is true. Actions. If you great, right? If say I'm Floyd Mayweather, I think I'm that great, and I got this quote on record, right? And I'm still crying, and I'm still hating on someone else. That means that you don't think you're that great. That means that you don't even think you're, because if you thought you were that great, you would be certain what you achieved.
The hardest lie is the one you tell yourself, and that's the one he's having trouble with. He's made money out of fooling the public, and he's fooled himself, and now he's having an awakening.
Yeah. I agree. That's good. That's a good point.
That's what's happening. Is the old April Fool's joke myself.
You know what, man? Though, you like a truck. Nobody like a tank. You gonna keep going and going like the Energizer Bunny. You keep going and going and going, and you make a lot of good points. And you make a lot of good points. But check it out, man. Any of the top fighters right now, the top fighter of the sport, he's always gonna get scrutinized. He's always gonna get scrutinized. He's always gonna get dissected and looked at and critiqued his wins. Oh, he fought this person. This person was weak. This person was wax sauce. This, that, and the third. But all in all, you had to say, you know what I'm saying, you had to call a spade in some cases. And with Floyd, listen, I criticize Floyd all the time. But one thing you can't do is say that he wasn't great or he doesn't mean anything to the sport.
No.
I don't think it's about. I don't think it's about. I don't think it's about. A question as to whether or not he means a lot to the sport, because he does. I just think this criticism that Canelo gets, he's gonna get it because he's the top dog. The top dog was always gonna get this stuff. But I disagree with some of the things you said, like Muhammad Ali not being average. He was above average, man. He was one of the greatest.
No, I didn't say he was average. I would never say he was better than average. I say that. I'm saying I'll pick fighters. If I had to put money on fights, I will find some fighters that can beat him. That's all I'm saying. That I can see styles.
But in that specific era,
can I add?
I know it's taboo to say anything about. I know it's taboo to say anything about Ali. I know that, but I'm just stating in a fighting aspect. I'm not talking about the impact he's done as a human being, to the world. That's over the topic.
I wanted to piggyback on what you said, Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, man. Back on what Stephen said. I don't think, and I want people to understand, people that are listening, everybody here in the panel. I don't think anybody here has ever said, and I just want to make that clear for all the fanboys out there, the Floyd. Nobody's said that Floyd is not great, right? We all agree that he's a fighter. I think he's one of the greatest fighters I've ever seen.
No,
he's
what we're saying
He's one of the best defensive fighters of all time.
What we're saying is this.
Right.
What we're saying is, you're not going to tell me
is that they rating him higher.
That's it.
Right. They're just rating him higher than what he really is. That's all.
Correct.
But nobody's saying Floyd isn't a fucking beast. Nobody's saying he wasn't great. Nobody's saying Floyd couldn't have, he probably could have achieved more if he wanted to. Who knows? Because he was a great talent. But what I don't agree with is how people give him the benefit of the doubt and they want to make him out to be greater than what he was. He didn't choose to do things, so I'm not going to put him up there. You know what I mean? If you can't fight, to me, the nail in the coffin is this: if you can't fight us in Manny Pacquiao, when you have all the advantages in the fight, single advantage, and you're practically guaranteed 100 million, and you pass on a fight like that, and you decide instead to accuse them of PEDs, no evidence, knowing that would complicate things, you're not that great. I'm sorry, you're not that great, because any other great fighter would not pass on an opportunity like that.
And that is exactly the point. The point is to properly locate him, to properly give him his worth. So the argument is not that Floyd is not gold. He is gold. It's just not 14 carats. It's 10 carats. That's the
right.
argument.
But
you don't argue with the
Mike, listen to me, man. Mike,
what's up?
Lil Penny, man. Tell me if y'all agree with me. That's the stuff I don't like. I don't like when Floyd duck. You know what I'm saying? That to me, that waters him down. And to me, I'll always be a straight shooter. And I'm gonna say this like it is. I don't like what Canelo does. Imran knows it. I don't like you going to cruiserweight and wanting to fight Makabu when you got gang right there at 168. You know what I'm saying? 175 you can fight. Man, that everybody been calling for it. Stop doing that. Canelo needs to stop doing that. He needs to stop it. I've had it, man.
I feel you, Steven, but I think he's gonna fight those dudes that you want, bro. That's the reason why I don't argue it, because I think he's gonna fight them.
Okay. So when he's
just taking different routes. He's just taking routes to try to enhance his legacy. But that doesn't mean he can't.
Don't take your ass up to. Don't go up to.
He's gonna beat us.
Yeah, I want to see it happen.
There goes that bar we're talking about. You see, the bar all of a sudden it got raised because it's Canelo. But when Roy Jones did it, when he went up to heavyweight, and when
I just said I don't like when I just said I don't like when I didn't like when Floyd does it. I mean, everybody in this everybody on this channel knows I don't like what Floyd does. I mean, come on, man. We gotta, man. One thing we gotta start doing is being fair, man. We can't always be like you doing this for one person and you're not doing it for the other person, man. We gotta cut that out. I don't like when I think that was whack sauce when Floyd was doing it. I think I legitimately think it was whack when he was doing it. What you say, Lil Penny?
Yeah, but Mike, yeah, I agree with you, Steve. But Mike brings up a good point that maybe Canelo will fight all the guys that we want him to fight, unlike what Mayweather did in his prime. But he's maybe because he can't fight every single one of them at the same time, and that's the reason. That's the debate because Canelo's career hasn't finished yet, and we can't judge him. Like I think sometimes we judge Canelo as if his career is already finished. Like where when we judge Pacquiao and Mayweather, we can judge them fairly because their careers are over. Like we can see the whole like Wikipedia career. Whereas with Canelo, we can't see that yet. He might fight him eventually.
That's what I was saying earlier, Lil Penny. That's what I was saying earlier. I mean, we're gonna look back at Canelo's his resume and his illustrious career at when it's all said and done, and we're gonna put him up there as one of the top dogs ever. We're gonna do it because enough time has been passed.
Yeah, but Steve, I don't think Canelo has the opponents to do that. I mean, he is great, and I've always thought that he was great. Canelo, I mean, but if you look at like when his career is done, and when you look at his Wikipedia opponents, I don't think he has it. I don't think he has the opponents to be in that same bracket. Because if you look at it now, right, the only way he's going to do that is to beat Usyk maybe at cruiserweight. And I hate to say this, man, he needs to go up to heavyweight and beat someone there, and then I can put him in that bracket. But at the moment, like if he cleans that 175, he's cleaned that 168. Say he beats Makabu and he beats a few people at cruiserweight. You look at those guys aren't all-time greats, dude. Like I'm sorry,
I disagree with you. I disagree with you a little bit, to Lil Penny, because you know what I'm saying. Canelo, he's fought some gangsters, man. Now, this okay. Let's all do this right now. Let's take Canelo's opponents and let's say 5-10 years from now, all of his most of all his opponents are going to be in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Famers, right? This Laura's a Hall of Famer.
But it depends on when he fought him. Like he fought Mosley, who's a Hall of Famer, but Mosley was washed up already. He fought Kovalev, who's a Hall of Famer, washed up already. He fought Cotto, even though Cotto was the lineal champ, washed up already. The only one I can think of that's a Hall of Famer that he beat in his prime was Triple G. But if you compare it to, say, Pacquiao, for example, he fought Barrera, Morales, Juan Manuel Marquez, Hatton, Bradley, Thurman. I mean, it's like a who's of who in their prime. It's like,
well, hold on, LP.
Yeah, but
Hall
of Fame in boxing, you Hall of Fame in boxing, it's not as difficult to get in as many might think to believe. Because a fighter is not in the Hall of Fame, it doesn't mean he's not a quality fighter. It's just it's the popularity of the fighter. Of course, he fought other popular fighters because that's just the way things are. But the Hall of Fame is not a difficult. It's not difficult to get into the Hall of Fame in boxing. It's not that. I would say Lara might be a Hall of Famer.
No. Erislandy Lara? No.
Because he's held the junior middleweight title for a long time. He pretty much ran that weight class for a long time.
Yeah, but LP, I have a question. I have a question for LP though. I have a question for LP.
I said maybe. LP, I'm not sure.
I know. Little Penny. Yep. I'm pretty sure you've watched enough boxing, right? So let's say this. Right, this is the reason why I don't like to compare. What if in an era, let's say Crawford, for people think Crawford's a great talent, right? But he, unfortunately for him, something that he can't control, he hasn't had around him to prove himself, right? So, but he might be as talented as some of the guys that you're talking about that are in the Hall of Fame, right? So how does a guy make, if you're just not in an era where there's a lot of talent, how do you make up for that? Now, example would be someone like, let's say, De La Hoya. I'm gonna bring up Oscar because all their era, right? Let's say when we look at Floyd and the route that he took, he has the names, but the names were not in their prime. But let's say Oscar De La Hoya had a very, very good version, a still great version of Pernell Whitaker. He had to fight a prime version of Tito Trinidad. He had to fight a prime version of Sugar Shane Mosley. He had to fight a prime version of Bernard Hopkins. He had to fight a prime version of Floyd Mayweather. He had to fight a prime version of Manny Pacquiao. What makes you think that a guy like that is going to go undefeated, right? When he's facing opposition like that, when they're in their peak, and then you come back to someone who might not have the talent in them. How do we even compare both of these resumes? It's impossible because there's a certain factor there that's out of the control. There's a certain point that's out of the control.
Yeah, Mark, but that's how the cookie crumbles, though. If you don't fight the fighters, if you don't fight great fighters, I believe that your path to greatness is a lot harder, like Crawford. But Crawford did have control of his destiny because I think 3 or 4 years ago, he was a free agent and he had the opportunity to sign with the PBC so he can fight the Thurmans and the Porters and the Spencers and the Pacquiaos. But he chose to
LP.
Don't let Ahmed hear you.
But we would go back to the same thing Steven said, though. How many of these guys are going to be Hall of Famers? We don't know that. If Crawford went up to 147 and he fought Keith Thurman, who says Keith Thurman is a Hall of Famer? Who says Ugas is a Hall of Famer? Who says Porter's a Hall of Famer? We don't be Hall of Famers. Errol Spence might be a Hall of Famer. He's another guy that.
Yeah, but Mike, you can tell like from the history of like who's got in, you can tell who will get it. I think Keith Thurman's a Hall of Famer because of his achievements.
Guys don't want to fight him, or the talent is not there, or he doesn't move up to another weight class, etc. So in the grand scheme of things, it's almost pointless. This is not the fun answer.
Little Penny, I have a question. Little Penny, I have a question for you. You said that Lara is definitely not a Hall of Famer, but you think that Keith Thurman is?
Nah, man. Yeah. Keith Thurman's not a Hall of Famer. No chance.
No.
So I would say that Lara's got more of a chance to get into the Hall of Fame than
you think Keith Thurman's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, because he beat Danny Garcia when he was undefeated. He beat who else did he beat?
Sean Porter.
So what? For 2 guys, he's in the Hall of Fame for beating 2 guys.
Nah, that's not fair. You want to bet? I put some money on that.
That's too easy to get in.
Nah, man, that's not. Come on, man. No, I don't agree with that, man. I don't agree with that. Listen. If that's the case,
Steven, by the time we get to pay each other, it's gonna be like 15 years from now, bro. We might not even be live by the time.
Yeah, we're gonna be old man.
You get your money.
We're gonna be old man.
They're gonna get in anytime soon, man.
No. But he gonna get in though.
He would have gotten in if he had beat Pacquiao. If he had beat Pacquiao, then yeah. But Keith Thurman ain't going to the Hall of Fame.
No, man.
I can almost bet my life on it. He's gonna be on there.
No, but the thing is, Keith Thurman didn't beat anyone. Like he's only beat Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. That's 2 guys, and neither of those guys were like
welterweight.
Yeah,
he beat 2 gatekeepers.
But Danny Garcia was at 140.
No, Danny Garcia has more chance of going in the Hall of Fame than Keith Thurman. He's got a way better resume.
For beating Khan. What puts Danny Garcia over is beating Khan.
Look at Khan's resume. He's better than Keith Thurman's resume.
Do you want to bet?
Khan is
hey guys, nobody.
Okay. No, what I'm saying is.
That's for my.
Go on.
What's the question, Mike?
No, my question is, how do we solve this issue? examples that I gave. How do we make these comparisons? These issues? How do we solve the problem if you're in an era where you have the competition, or if you're in an era where you're facing nothing but killers in their
I think
when you know you're not, when you know you're gonna lose, you're not gonna come out undefeated, bro.
Well, that's
Yeah,
easy
true.
because Canelo would beat Marquez, right? I think we could all agree on that.
Exactly.
And all of Mayweather's opponents, I think Canelo beats them all in a better fashion, and that's not.
Well, HJ, are you saying that Juan Manuel Marquez will beat Canelo in like
No,
like
Canelo will knock out Marquez.
No. If Canelo was to go at
Yeah, if he moved up
147,
2 weight
Marquez will knock out Canelo. Canelo nearly got knocked out against Abner Cotto, and Abner Cotto was a
He
nobody.
was 19 years old. He was 19.
Yeah, he was a baby then.
He was
a baby
19.
then.
Anybody can
Man,
get
listen,
knocked out. Mike Tyson
listen.
got dropped or knocked out at that age, like
Listen,
or
man,
younger in his teens. Anybody can get beat up in their teens. They're barely learning. They haven't fully developed their body or anything like that. So I don't pay attention to that.
What's your name, man?
Javier.
Javier. Check it out, man. Check me out, dude. Listen to me. You know, some of the dudes that you know, some of those dudes, man, that Floyd fought, they were straight gangsters, man. They were straight killers, man. You know, Chico Corrales. I don't know if you seen any of him. You sound like a young. You sound like you mad young. So you might want to go back and look at some of these people he fought.
I agree,
Augustus
but do you
Manuel,
think I never?
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Chop Corley. Chop Corley was a legit killer, man.
But you have to be honest to yourself, though. I agree with you. Mayweather's one of the greatest fighters ever. But do you think Canelo would beat them as well? You have to be honest with yourself.
No. Some of those dudes that he
I-
fought when he was pretty boy was
Hey,
was
but
with
Steven,
Canelo's
Yes, sir.
big.
you're tripping a little bit, bro.
Right now, I have Canelo.
No. I'm not.
You brought up
Look at
Emmanuel.
pride.
I'm talking about
He's knockout.
losses, bro.
You have to be
listen, man.
honest.
Come on,
listen,
dog.
Mike, listen. I'm talking
He had
about
like
I'm talking
15
about the
losses
guys that Floyd was fighting when he was
before he
pretty
faced
boy. When he was pretty boy. Them was killers, dude.
You're talking
They
about
were killers. Them dudes was killers. Now when he became Mayweather,
Manfredi,
later on,
yeah.
shit, them motherfuckers, them dudes
Look,
was
a
they
lot
were
of people are gonna
good,
make
dude.
some good points on Floyd's career. Nobody's gonna argue that. You're just gonna have a lot of blind spotted facts. That's what I'm saying. There's gonna be a lot of facts that just have too many blind spots.
I want to move on. I'm talking about these dudes, man.
Yo,
We was talking about Floyd.
Can I make a point real quick? Hey,
Nelson,
guys.
Hey,
Go
Nelson,
ahead, little Penny.
if Canelo had problems with Lara,
Mhm.
I'm sure Canelo will have problems with Juan Manuel Marquez if they were the same size, because Juan Manuel Marquez is a way better boxer than Lara.
You get better as you fight, though. You get better, and everybody does.
Yeah,
in
but
sport.
the trick is this.
Different styles.
He's gonna
different
exchange.
styles.
You can exchange. You know, when we're talking about putting hands and getting hands in between punches, Canelo's very dangerous with that, man. You know, if you're gonna sit there and exchange with him, you're asking for
They
it.
get knocked out.
Yeah, but dude, Nelson, at 147 or 140, that power is not the same as if like he's at 168. If you put Juan Manuel Marquez and Canelo at 140, right? Man, Juan Manuel Marquez, he will counterpunch Canelo like Juan Manuel Marquez.
Yeah, but
Marquez,
you're not understanding who
was
has the
chin.
better chin, though. Canelo has
Marquez is a
probably
great
the
fighter.
greatest,
Nobody's
one
taking
of the
that
greatest
from
chins ever.
No. And he complements that with great
These
defense,
matchups
which
are
is
not
what makes
realistic,
it
guys.
even more.
These matchups are
Yeah,
not
but Canelo's
realistic.
like double the size of Marquez. I don't.
None of these guys
Yeah.
that Mayweather
Yeah.
fought are hurting Canelo.
These are not
No,
realistic
these guys,
matchups,
no,
guys. Come on.
no. These guys are these guys are not really small. Y'all guys mistake that these guys are small. It's just that people need to understand a lot of these fighters cut a lot of weight just to go to the old culture of how boxing used to be, which is always having the size advantage. Whereas I keep going back to this, Canelo's doing the opposite. You know, when you're growing up, everybody's hurting. Fight someone your own size. You're always picking on that guy, you know. Fight someone bigger than you. Because everybody
Nelson,
in fighting is looking for a physical advantage. It's
Yeah,
very rare
Nelson.
that you see a fighter that is not looking to have a physical advantage.
Yeah, but Nelson, I just to counter that, James Deere and James Deere, who just commented here, we go back and forth on a lot of things, but I do agree with him that a little bit on what he said that Canelo's opponents en route to his greatness,
Marquez got dropped a lot.
greats, man. They're not all-time greats. BJ Saunders is not an all-time great. Plant is not an all-time great. Who else?
Yeah, because
of course,
because all-time greats, but who are we talking about all-time greats? So we're talking about Marquez being an all-time great, right? Cotto being an all-time great,
to be honest.
But I mean, we're kind of like throwing these words around, like, you know, like everybody's an all-time great.
I don't think
you know, it's not the way it works. You know, I mean, let's start looking at all-time. Who did Muhammad Ali beat that was an all-time great?
Foreman.
Oh my God!
Everybody he fought.
Everybody he fought was an all-time great.
Who's who of heavyweights, dude? What
who's an all-time great?
Well, I'll start
No,
with,
it's not a ridiculous statement. Let's be real. Okay.
Nelson, hold on. Can I answer that question? I'll start with Sonny Liston. He's one of the best.
Rare breed. Why are you echoing? Is there something wrong with your connection?
Not me. It will be
I'm not sure. Because I'm driving.
Rare breed, come back on. Rare breed, go off and come back on. Your connection's echoing.
Worst.
Yeah, Rare breed, go off and come back on till these dudes was cracking. Was cracking.
Yeah,
these dudes was happening.
Rare breed's on it today.
Yeah, we gotta, but you gotta let me make my little point here. So
yeah,
that
go on.
You made a lot of points, man.
Hopefully,
No. But y'all guys are taking it like I'm trying to be disrespectful. You know?
No. Go on, Nelson.
I'm just playing.
I don't mean no disrespect. I love Ali. I love Floyd.
I love all Nelson, that's the whole point of
my
this.
job, my thing is to attach a value to their career. And
no, Nelson,
you know,
that's what I want you to do. We don't all have to agree on everything. You're entitled to your opinion, man. No one, you're not. We're not. No one's right or wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it's an opinion. So go on, Nelson.
Yeah, but we have enough data and to analyze this whole situation, and it's easy. It's really easy. I mean, it's like I was saying before. You don't go into a jewelry shop, hand the guy a chain, tell him, hey, it says 14 carats on it. He scratches it on the little rock, puts a little acid, and he tells you, no, it's 10. You know, it's a 10 carat. You're not gonna argue with him because he's the jeweler. He knows the value of what gold is.
But Nelson,
here's the thing, though. Let me make this point. You know what? I think me and Steven are the same. That I love Ali so much, and he means so much to me. Like, when someone says something about him, like, for example, the other day people were saying Fury would beat him. I start getting angry and I start raging because Ali means so much to me. You know what I mean? He means so much to me. Sometimes
nobody beats
Fury. It's taboo to speak about Ali.
Nelson.
I respect Ali. I respect what he's done, but I mean, I also respect, you know, real. More than
but Nelson,
nobody beats Fury right now.
Yeah, but Nelson, Ali has the resume as well. I mean, I'm gonna run through the people that he beat. Right? He beat Sonny Liston, all-time great.
Sonny Liston retired. Sonny Liston retired. How old was Sonny?
He beat Joe Frazier, an all-time great. He beat Ken Norton, all-time great. He beat George Foreman, all-time great. There's not too many heavyweights in the history of boxing, with the exception to maybe Joe Louis, who has done that.
So what my thing is this. So you got 4, right? You got 4 all-time greats, right? Right? That's what you name. What is Ali's record? Why not? What is Ali's record? What is Ali's record, though? What is his record?
50 and 6.
50 and 6. So we took so 50 and 6. Those are 56 fights. 6 of them were all-time greats. So
you know what though? This is you know what Nelson knows.
So that's what
you know what?
That's 10%. That's 10% of the fighters he fought. 8% of the fighters he fought.
Nelson, let me say something. Let me just say something real quick. Just let me say something, Nelson. That was way before ducking and dodging fades was a thing. See, Ali, he was fighting all comers. He wasn't turning down nothing. He accepted everything. So in
Yeah, a lot of
today's
guys they
age,
would just a lot of guys come in putting on gloves because this is the Cinderella story days. You had to feed
But
your
Nelson,
family.
what we will
Mayweather
say,
You
changed
show
it.
up to the fight without
Mayweather
having ate
changed
for
that.
2 days, and you put on your gloves.
no, but Nelson, here's the thing though. What you've got to consider, Muhammad Ali had to go through a lot as well. Back then, we don't know what he was
Fought
going through.
everybody.
Racism, all sorts, like there was all sorts of things. He got put in prison. Like there was
No,
it's
but
not
just
fair
That's
because
fine.
like these guys
No,
don't have to go
no.
through what
And
he's
I'm
gone
just
through.
what
strictly
I'm
boxing.
trying to compare. What I'm trying to say. What I'm using it as a backdrop for.
Yeah,
It's not to disrespect Ali. It's to
yeah.
give you an example of look, how many great fighters do you need to fight, all-time greats, in order to be considered, the status that a lot of people are trying to put you in.
Hmm.
And like we say, he's got 6 all-time
It's
greats.
five.
He has
Five.
56 fights. That's probably about 8% of fighters that he fought that was an all-time great out of 56 fights. That's all I'm saying.
You need
So
about 5 to me.
Mm.
To be in that category with Ali, Mayweather, and Pacquiao, you need to have 5. So far, Canelo's got 2. He needs to add 3 more.
he
Yeah,
needs
but
to
all
have-
the
No,
guys,
hell no.
those
That,
two
that
fought,
that's
Canelo would be
you can't
in
go
better
based off of
fashion.
that.
But we tend to inflate a little bit
You
of the
can't
past.
go based
We
off
we
of that.
have to understand. We have to be more realistic. Okay, so he beat Joe Foreman when he was 21 years old in Africa. He beat Joe Frazier. That's a solid win. But those were 3 fights. With which was the style that gave him trouble. Sonny Liston, who we never seen them a day after ever fighting Ali. We don't even know it. Some people say Sonny Liston was like 44 for that fight because they didn't even have his birth certificate. So for all we know, Sonny Liston could have been 50 years old.
do you know what Joe Frazier was doing, dudes? Do you know what do you know what George Foreman,
Kenny
what
Norton
his
got knocked
reputation
out
was
by
when Ali
Foreman.
fought him? He had a bad rep for almost killing dudes.
Yeah, Stephen,
His
Yeah.
weren't
bro-
people worried for Ali's health?
they were worried
Yeah.
for his life.
Yeah, they're worried for his health, his life. That's what I mean. So to say that
Yeah.
George Foreman knocked
But he was not more
Joe
worried.
Frazier out.
He was not more worried that 38 Smith and Wesson that was waiting for Sonny Liston in the locker room if he even tried to fight in that fight. People don't even know
Yeah.
the kind of things that were happening in the sport back then when the mob was
But that was
involved.
outside the
And we
outside
know
the
that
game.
Sonny Liston was muscle for the mob back then. I would not be surprised that famous picture of Ali telling Sonny Liston to get up. There was something there. Talk about taking a hit.
He threw the second. What was it? The second fight.
Yeah, dude, the second fight, dude, that connected. I know what you're talking about, the phantom punch, but dude, that connected. If you look at it, the back of his head, it connected. It went
Yeah,
back.
he connected, but I mean that doesn't mean the guy don't get up. He connected enough for the guy to get back on his feet.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He
Dude,
didn't want to get up. Sonny
I
Liston
mean,
didn't want to get up.
Dude, he already lost in the first fight. Like, so in the second fight,
Well,
when the guy
it doesn't
goes
matter.
in the
It
last
doesn't
fight,
matter.
he's not gonna
Ali
get
was
up
Man,
from
why
it.
y'all want to do Ali like that, man?
Well,
Why
Ali has
y'all-
nothing to prove,
yeah,
man.
true,
Honestly,
true.
Ali
I'm
has
telling
nothing to
you,
prove.
I'm telling you, it's taboo.
Yeah, I had no idea why
It's
they're
taboo
talking
to
about
talk about Ali. I love Ali. I
I'm
mean,
too young
it's
for
taboo,
Ali.
but we have to be realistic. We have to keep
But
it 100.
Nelson, what I'm saying with Canelo, look, the bar is high to get into that greatness. You can't beat just 2 all-time greats in their prime and be all of a sudden a great fighter. Dude, it's got to be a
Like
lot
I
harder.
said, he would have beaten all of the
Everyone
opponents
gets
Mayweather fought
everyone
in better
becomes an
fashion.
all-time great.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like what I said. It's about the value of it, and to me, Canelo's offering more to this than Floyd took a lot from boxing, and Canelo's trying to give something back to it. So it's just different,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Canelo's like
value
an
that more.
Amazon. He's feeding everybody at the top and at the bottom. Look at Charlo, look at Usyk. They all want to fight him. Like he's feeding everybody.
Hey Jay.
So if
Hey, Jay.
Charlo's not a Hall of Famer, right? Charlo's not a Hall of Famer.
No, not even close.
Okay.
Not
So
close.
so you see,
His
but why is
brother
he
is.
not a Hall of Famer? Because he hasn't
The
fought
one
any.
at 154 might be a Hall of Famer.
Who?
The one at
Jamil.
154, he might be a Hall of Famer.
Jamil.
Yeah.
All-time greats are not easy to come by. We're just throwing that word around too much.
No,
and,
no,
Yeah, I
no,
agree.
they're not
You know,
all time great.
If he goes
No
undisputed,
all-time
if he
great.
goes undisputed, he might have a chance.
you know.
But
But
the thing is with Canelo, his career is not over yet. He might get there. That's what I'm saying. He might get there,
168
but at
and
the moment,
175 is not his natural weight class. To me, that's greatness. He doesn't have to fight an all-time great. If he goes undisputed in
That's what I
those
was
two
saying
weight
earlier.
classes, it's
That's what I
tough.
was saying earlier,
How
Javier.
many people can do that? How many people can
Then I
do that?
said,
That's why these
Yeah.
comparisons. That's why these comparisons are ridiculous.
Who's doing
Hey,
These
it? Who's
comparisons are
doing it?
ridiculous.
but the
Well,
comparison.
here's
Man,
the
But
I
this
mean,
thing.
is
Here's
honestly,
the thing.
I hate to be the boring guy. Reality, man.
the
These
reality is
comparisons
that
are
this conversation.
ridiculous. You
This
can't
but this is
compare.
what Floyd is doing. But this is all starting because Floyd's the one that's out there making these
I mean,
comparisons.
imagine
and making
having
these
a bunch of names and your names on your resume, fucking beating them all while they're past their prime, and then thinking that makes you an all-time great. That's ridiculous. A lot of dudes could do that.
yeah.
Hey,
to be honest,
Muhammad
hey,
Ali.
can I
Muhammad Ali was viewed as
hey,
great because he beat guys that were in their prime. He beat Frazier when he
Yes.
was in his prime. He beat
Yes.
Hey,
Kid Norton when he was in
you
his
guys-
prime. He beat
Yes.
Foreman when he was a
didn't
killer
didn't
because he was
didn't Floyd say
38,
he was better than Ali?
or because
Yeah.
he didn't want to fight him because he accused Frazier of
Floyd said
he took my Donna's gloves away, or no, like
hey,
Floyd.
do you guys hear? Do you guys hear Echo still?
example?
that's what it
Look,
matters.
You wanna get
Rare breed. Yeah, rare breed. You're good. You're good. Rare breed, go on.
Okay,
Go on. Rare breed.
so I need to respond because when it comes to Floyd, there's a lot of biasness for a lot of reasons. I have a lot of Mexican friends. They don't like Floyd for basically. Let's be real. Floyd made a lot of his money agitating Mexicans. Wouldn't that be an honest assessment?
What?
Has nothing to do with that, bro. Nothing to do with
What?
that.
What
No, but Floyd made most of his money going fighting Mexican fighters and agitating Mexican fans.
It has nothing to do with that.
Nah, Floyd made
But
money
no,
on
you
beating
can say
That's not even true because Floyd. Hold
Floyd
on,
is
hold on,
great.
hold on.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Let
me finish.
There's a
My wife
shitload,
is
shitload of
listening,
Mexican fans who are Floyd fans. There's a shitload of Mexican
And there's a
fans
shitload
that
of
like
black
Floyd.
fans who like Canelo. Of course there is. There's also a shitload of black fans who
Not
like
you.
Canelo,
I mean,
but
But
you
this
can't
ain't
you can't.
but this is the thing. This is another reason why I've taken this stand with Floyd because of the race baiting. I think that we just need to eliminate the color or the coach. We really, at the end of the day, we
You
just
can't ignore it.
I mean, there is no race. It's just a human race. Everything else is just culture. You
Hey,
know.
you can say that. You can say that, but most people are not like that. Most people are gonna go with
And I
their
got you.
tribe.
I understand that, Ray. But the point
I
is that
understand that too. I agree with
it's
that.
been his baiting that's gotten me to. He's actually, if Floyd was a stock, he would be depreciating right now. He's hurting
Mike-
his legacy even more by bringing up
He's
these
retired,
topics in
dude.
conversation. You know,
But
his value is dropping
another
because
hey, Nelson.
I have a
Okay.
problem, Mike.
Hold
I have a
on.
problem.
This is the
I have a
reason
problem,
why.
Mike, because
No,
Go on.
I have a
this is
problem, Mike, because he says,
this is what
Hold
Red
up.
Breed doesn't. This is what Red Breed doesn't understand.
Mike,
A lot of
you've been
people
speaking this whole time,
dislike
bro.
Floyd, bro. It has nothing to do with boxing, bro. It has to do with the person that he is out boxing as well. It's not uncommon for people to dislike a guy who makes racist comments, who disses his own, who beats his wife or whatever. That's common. That's common, bro.
and he's attacked
You're
Muhammad
trying to make
Ali.
it seem
If
as if
I'm not
Floyd,
mistaken,
right?
Yeah.
He attacks Muhammad.
Floyd is
Floyd
not.
even
Floyd's
attacked-
not perfect.
He attacks her. This is the same guy who
He
when
not
they
attack
asked Floyd
Muhammad Ali.
if he was willing
He
to
just said
do
he was
something for
better.
Africa, he said, "What has Africa done for me?" He's for me. The guy's a
He has
moron.
never said that.
That's why they.
He has never
they
said
hate
that.
the guy. But if you're talking about
Who's dead?
boxing, just pure boxing,
Just
I'm talking
strictly
about people in
boxing.
general,
Care about that
Mexicans or
other
whatever.
stuff. I don't
There's a
care
lot
what
of
that's outside.
Mexican fighters who like Floyd. See how they treated Floyd. He recently went to Mexico. Did you not see how they treated
No.
Floyd?
The people in Mexico are good.
Okay, well,
They're,
there it is.
from what I've seen,
There it
No,
is.
but I'm talking about Mexican Americans. A lot of them hate Floyd. People in Mexico are knowledgeable. I like they're nice
But
from what I've seen.
Rare breed,
But
there's
a
a
lot
lot
of
of Americans that
You don't
hate
even
Floyd.
speak Spanish,
period.
man. Get the hell out of here. What the hell you know?
that's just my opinion, man. You don't gotta like it. It is what it is.
This is like
I mean, the comments
Speak the
that
language, man. What the hell are you talking about?
the comments that Floyd
What
been
was that? What
making
was that? I didn't
are
quite get it.
a window to what's
Rare breed,
actually
what was
going
that? I didn't
Huh?
quite get it. Well, I don't know what was said. Like what
So Mike, so one thing I had a problem with is Mike is saying that that Floyd fought all his fighters past their prime, but he doesn't have that same energy for Canelo.
No. Listen, Floyd fought the guys. I mean,
No,
look,
I'm talking
I've
about
said this
the
before.
all-time greats. The supposed
I've given Floyd. He gets
But
credit
Penny,
for
we
those
ain't gonna get
fights.
to talk.
It's
We
just
ain't gonna get
what
to
we're
talk
trying to
about kind
give
of
him
business.
is the
Yeah.
right amount of credit. It's given. It's to give Floyd his
Also,
right amount.
why do we ignore the fact that Canelo, when he gets asked about Floyd, he said if he fought right now, I would destroy him. So you think
Well,
Floyd?
he's being asked. He's been
They
asked.
asked
It's very
Floyd too.
different.
They asked Floyd too about Canelo. Yes,
Floyd,
they do.
Floyd
They're
jumps
gonna be
out there.
linked forever, whether we
Floyd
like
jumps
it or not.
out there.
Yeah, but whether we like
Let
it
me
or
say
not,
something,
whether
Nelson.
we
Hey, Nelson, let me
whether we
real
like
quick.
it or not.
Let me just let me just say what Canelo said recently. Can I say this? Just to counter that real quick, and then I'll be out. The last time, check this out. They've asked Canelo Alvarez probably this question a million times about Floyd, right? The last asked Canelo about Floyd, it's on Fight Hub, it's on major boxing channels. They asked him about Floyd Mayweather. You know what Canelo said? Canelo said it was an honor to fight Floyd Mayweather. What happened in the past happened in the past. Learned a lot from him as a fighter, and he's one of the best. That's what he said.
And that's because you can't, no matter how much money you got, you cannot buy class.
Give a shit.
You can't buy class.
You know what I like about Floyd?
Buy class.
He doesn't try to do that fake silly oh, I'm being humble, for the cameras. Floyd tells you how it feels, how he really feels. I rather deal with a person
So you're
like that.
saying that Canelo's acting? You're saying that Canelo's acting when he's being that way?
Most athletes, most politicians are not going to tell you how they really feel on camera.
But he's a fighter. This is not a politician.
I said athletes and politicians.
Yeah, but dude, some athletes are humble, man. You can't say all.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah, some, but a majority.
You're moving the moral pole, my man. Listen,
not really.
You have to
just has a massive crush on Floyd.
No, I understand, and I can say you have a massive crush on Canelo.
Hey guys,
you know what it is?
I mean that's your
no.
That's your typical.
Listen, let me make.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Let me just say this. You know what it is, right? If Rare Breed is inspired by Floyd, there's nothing wrong with that, man. Like everyone has their.
I'm not inspired by Floyd.
Or whatever. Like I
okay.
Nothing wrong with that. We all have people that we look up to or we think that are great. That's why I got into boxing because I started watching Khan at the Olympics when he won the silver. And then I got into boxing. So everyone has people that they prefer. If Rare Breed likes Floyd and he's a fan of Floyd, then he's a fan of Floyd. Maybe Mike might like somebody that he started watching boxing for. It's all good. It's all good. We all have our favorite fighters. Do you know what I mean? We all have people that we look up to or we like. So obviously, if Rare Breed is talking about Floyd, he obviously likes Floyd. He likes Floyd. He's backing because he likes him. He thinks he was great, and he is great. Me and Khan's
let me say something too, Emery.
I'm inspired. I was inspired by him for what he did for the Asian community, but he's not on Floyd's level as a boxer. But like he's a much smaller level than Floyd. But still,
let me say something too, Imran.
Go on.
But Imran, but you don't.
Let me say something real quick. No. Hey, Mike, hold on, real quick.
You don't spend your whole time for Amir Khan.
No.
Hey, Mike. let me say something real quick, man.
Go first.
Hey, listen, man. Real talk, man. I feel what Rare Breed is saying.
Thank you.
Rare Breed is saying that Floyd, like him or love him, hate him or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? As far as his his talking points and what he preaches outside the ring is always it's not gonna be palatable. It's gonna be how he really feels and it's and everything. It's gonna come straight from the gut. When he say all this stuff about what this, that, and the third, it's what he truly feels. You know what I'm saying? He really truly feels like Canelo it was easy work for him. He tells you when he tells you like when Javante was trying to wear his gloves, he was like, "Listen, man, why you trying to wear this dude's gloves? He going against you. That look dumb." You know what I'm saying? That's how Floyd is. Now, Floyd, was he in the ring, in the boxing ring? Was he perfect? Did he duck fights and everything? Yeah, he duck fights. I say it all the time, but I get what Rare Breed is saying. And I think everybody on this post on this panel, man, I think they entitled to feel what they feel. I ain't gonna bash Rare Breed for what he say about Floyd because listen, man, the dude he made some good points about it. You know about him. You know, Floyd for all his work, the dude is 50-0, and the dude got a lot of solid ass wins, especially early on when he's pretty boy. I don't like Floyd because of obvious reasons, but I ain't gonna let my bias how I feel about Floyd, how it affect the my analogy and my evaluation of him as a boxer. We gotta start putting all this stuff to the side, man. What's good for the goose is always good for the gander. You know what I mean?
I got one question for the panel. I got one question for the panel, real quick.
Well, hold on a second. Can I just make a quick point? For me, Floyd is the most talented fighter I have ever seen. His twitchiness is like what Max Kellerman says is what separates good fighters from great fighters. But what what I don't like about Floyd is we were robbed of seeing the greatest fighter that we have ever seen, even greater than Sugar Ray Robinson. And the reason why I say that is because if he fought all of those guys like Paul Williams and Cotto Pacquiao, Winky Wright and Mosley in their primes and had Floyd beaten all of those guys, I would have put Floyd as the best fighter I have ever seen pound for pound, even greater than Sugar Ray Robinson. But the fact that he didn't do it and he cherry-picked his fighters, that makes me a tad angry because I was robbed of seeing the greatest fighter we've ever seen.
Lil Penny.
The greatest boxer because I don't think he had the durability. He had no durability to withstand that. That run to go through that gauntlet like that, you have to be durable. You can't just be. It's like trying to put a good-looking car in a bumping car thing. It's not gonna work. You have to, with that style and that kind of a fighter, talented as he is, because he's talented as hell. That is not something I'm denying.
Yeah, but Nelson, if he fights all of those fights, I agree he might lose one or two. Like he may lose to Paul Williams or Winky Wright. But the thing is about Floyd, he adjusts well. So on the rematch, I reckon he might win those fights. So it doesn't matter if you lose one or two. If he rematches them and beats them, then I would have to put him on the
But that's the argument.
What Red Breed said earlier. What Red Breed said earlier was
because a lot of what y'all say about Floyd is a lot of stuff of what you just said. Inflated stories of what it could have, would have, should have been, and if it was like, but it wasn't, and there was a reason it wasn't. If it would have been what you're saying it is, it would have been that way. But his style, his way, the way his belt, it was not going to allow for that. You know, it was just not going to allow for it. So a lot of it is inflation. It's just inflating what the greatness, and it is just brainwashed into people's minds. Once again, great boxer, I wouldn't even consider him a great fighter, man, for the simple reason is you have to finish when you're a great fighter. He's not a finisher, you know. It's just like I said.
Ridiculous statement.
Yeah, I mean, the statement you made right now, it really, really made. It has a lot of reason.
Nelson, why are you echoing? Nelson, we can't hear you properly. You're echoing.
But I agree with Nelson that he didn't.
That was a
go
ridiculous
through that
statement.
and that's the reason why I can't. That's the reason why I always say that Pacquiao is greater than Mayweather.
Nelson,
Mayweather
can
is
you go off and come back on? We can't hear you. We can't hear you. It's echoing. Can you go off and come back on?
Yeah. Imran, I'll just to reiterate. That's the reason why I always say that Pacquiao is greater than Mayweather because Pacquiao did all of those things. It took risks and blah blah blah. But I do think that Mayweather is more skilled than Pacquiao. But in terms of their legacy, I would say that Pacquiao is greater than Floyd, and I think that's some of the reason why Canelo is a bit. The reason why Mayweather is a bit jealous of Canelo or Pacquiao because he now, like as what Nelson was saying, he now sees his legacy, like all of the things that he did, all the things that Mayweather did, where he chose the path to least resistance, is now coming to fruition because the guys that did it better than him are now getting more praise, like Pacquiao and Canelo, and that's the reason why he's a bit peeved off and he says things like, stuff that he shouldn't say about Canelo and stuff like that. And I think he now realizes that.
And that's why, and Lil Penny, that's why I was saying earlier, man, that we judge, a lot of what we judge fighters on is it transcends the sport of boxing. It's what they bring to the table, the charisma and all that stuff. I think that Floyd was a trend in a lot of things he was doing. He popularized, self promotion. And like Red Bree was saying, he made his living off of agitation. He was the first dude really rocking the sombrero and wearing the Mexican colors into the ring. Man, the dude, man, he had his own shtick. You know what I'm saying? So to deny him of that and to turn a blind eye to that would be kind of disingenuous. But
can I respond? Can I respond something that Lil Penny said after you're finished?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay, so when he said the path of least resistance, that's literally what Canelo is doing at 168. The toughest dude everybody knows at 168 was David Benavidez. As soon as he dropped that belt for the Coke or whatever he was on, Canelo, I want to go undisputed at 168. But notice he was never interested in going undisputed at 160 or 154. So that's you can make an argument. So you can say Canelo's going to the path of least resistance. Why do you want to go undisputed? Go ahead.
But
you know what it ran. You know what?
WBC. Sorry, you go.
Go ahead, Lil Penny. Sorry about that.
I think if Benavidez held that WBC belt, Canelo would have fought him.
That's a speculation. We can't say that.
No, but the thing is, he fought all of the belt holders at 168. So
no, but
that's
LP, there's a more important point here. The fight is still there to be made. The fact that he didn't have a belt doesn't mean that he's not going to fight him. It's kind of like the same. It's a comparison that we brought up earlier. We're comparing a guy who's still fighting to guys who are already retired. So know what's going to happen by the end of Canelo's career. It's easier to criticize Floyd, Manny Pacquiao, because we already know the guys who he didn't fight. You know what I mean? We already know the guys who are the fight's not going to happen ever, right? So it's the comparisons again. They're just tough, bro, because it's different eras, different ways of going about things, different weight classes, different challenges, different ways to enhance your legacy. There's just too much to kind of go over to where like we could be here literally for weeks, months, and we're never gonna come up with the correct answer or whatever we're trying to come up with, because it's a never-ending story. That's just the reality of it. It's a never-ending story.
Lil Penny, why should we basically punish Floyd for having better longevity than Pacquiao? because he was older than Pacquiao when they fought. Just
No,
because
not in
Pacquiao,
boxing. No, dude, you can't use that because in boxing terms, someone who's younger can be older than someone who's like, for example, Pacquiao took a lot of punishment at 130, dude. Like he fought Marquez, Barrera, Morales, and all of those fights were rematches, trilogies, and he fought him 4 times. So when you get punished like that, even though when they fought in 2015, even though Pacquiao was younger by 1.5 years, in boxing terms, Pacquiao was older than Mayweather because he took a lot of punishment, whereas Mayweather, he hardly had any punishment, right?
that's because of skills.
You know what?
Yes, correct.
You know what I was saying?
No, but why would someone say that Pacquiao didn't have it?
But this is what I was going to say.
Because when they met, one guy was questioning the other.
Check it out, man. It's kind of hard to get in here. I got to get in where I fit in. But this is what I'm gonna say about Floyd. You know what the thing is that I hate about Floyd, rare breed, is I hate the maneuvering. I hate the strategical maneuvering that he did. You know, a lot of ducking. That's why that's the problem I got with Floyd. I don't question the skills or nothing like that, but the dude did a lot of ducking. He dug, Paul Williams.
But bro, what fighter hasn't done that? What fighter hasn't done that in the history? Why does Floyd get all the flack for that? Canelo's doing that. All of them do that.
Like Ali didn't duck. Ray Leonard didn't duck. Those fighters didn't duck.
Okay, yeah, those guys did. I'm talking about like modern.
Canelo and Floyd ducked. They ducked.
But Mike actually brought this up like a few months ago. Yeah, a lot of fighters have ducked other fighters, but the thing is, Floyd does it in a consistent basis. He used to do that on a consistent basis. So
okay, but Lil Penny, the only 3 fighters you could say he ducked were Paul Williams, Margarito, and Amir Khan. If your life was on the line, who would you have winning those fights?
He ducked Pacquiao too.
Yeah, he ducked Pacquiao too.
He fought him. He fought Pacquiao.
Floyd beats all of
no,
those.
But 5 years too late, dude.
No,
he fought him. There's a lot of those asterisks that Mayweather has. Whereas with like fighters like say Miguel Cotto in his era, Miguel Cotto, Marquez, Pacquiao, yeah, they have a few asterisks here and there. Like Pacquiao, I don't know, he didn't fight Casamayor at 135. Okay, fair enough, that's one. And he may have others as well. He didn't fight, I don't know, who knows. He didn't fight at 140. What's his name? I can't remember. But
Canelo ducked too a lot.
But it's only a few. Whereas with Mayweather,
I'm sick of Canelo and them ducking, man, like that. Stop doing that, man.
Ducking, Stephen. Name the names.
Okay.
You better not say Adrian, Stephen. Come on, brother. You better not say Adrian.
Wait. Say this guy. I love this guy. You guys know I love this guy. His name is Wavy. Say it with Wavy Davey Benavidez. Stop ducking him. I'm sick of it. I don't want to hear it, Mike. I'm sick of it.
But that's only one, dude. That's
win, though. Win.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair, though. I'll give you that one. Hey, but Steven, but when he fights him,
yes, sir.
Are you gonna give him his props?
Yeah, you know I will, Mike. Come on, man. You know I will.
All right. All right.
I want to see it happen,
that's cool.
man.
That's cool. I respect that.
But you know what? You know what's
gonna happen, dog. It's gonna happen.
Here's the thing, Mike. You know what the thing is with Canelo? We want to see him fight. We want to see. Look, I want to see him fight the Andrade fight. I know you said that you're not. I really want to see that fight. I'm really interested in it. I actually really want to see it. I ain't gonna lie. I think there's a lot of history there. I really love Canelo to fight Andrade.
Yeah, but
look, Imran. If it's up to me, Imran. Like,
yeah. Go on,
what I was gonna say, Imran. If it's up to me, and you ask me this about every single fighter, I'm gonna give you the same answer. I would. All these guys fought each other. What I always make is that Andrade. If I had a list of fighters, I wouldn't have him in my top 3 or top 4 or top 5. I would rather see Canelo fight someone else. He's not that important to me. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Yeah, sure. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I agree with Mike. I agree with
Beterbiev,
Yeah,
Mike.
Beterbiev.
see
Benavidez is PBC's Triple G.
Benavidez.
Benavidez is
I would rather see
PBC
Benavidez. I would
Showtime
rather
Triple
see
G.
a,
Who was
I would
calling
rather see a Beterbiev
Canelo
fight.
But here's
Triple
the
G
thing,
was
like, everybody keeps raving about what's his name, Benavidez. Who the hell is that guy for? He's fought nobody.
that's
He's
the new
literally fought
adopted child.
nobody.
That's
Hey?
the new guy they adopted. I mean, that's who
No,
they
he
adopted now.
He fought Andre the
he
World.
has an Imran, but again, we go back to the same thing. Who has Andre fought?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. What
Nobody
I'm
either. So
saying is
I'm going to
everybody's
go with
saying
the
that Andre
consensus.
Canelo's ducking Benavidez, but you said earlier Canelo, like, don't say Andre, but Benavidez, who the hell's he for? Why are we saying Canelo's ducking that dude? He's fought nobody. His resume is even worse than Andre's, I'd say.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He's
but
fought
Imran, the
nobody.
reason why people want to see that Canelo Benavidez fight is because Benavidez is an offensive fighter, and it would be an exciting fight to watch. Whereas the Canelo Andrade fight, that would be a boring fight because Andrade would just
I got a question.
running
I
around
got a
in
question.
the ring.
Look, Penny, I got a question. I got a question for everybody. The first question is when we gonna go live again, and the second question is, are we gonna ever talk about Conor Ben on this second live? Because I'm tired today.
Yeah, let's go. Stephen, go on.
Okay.
Yeah, go.
All right. I get it. I love both Canelo and Mayweather. Mwah. But I do feel like though on some real stuff, I feel like Conor Ben doesn't get a lot of respect that he needs, that he's entitled to. And I think that Conor Ben, I think making his entryway, I think at the welterweight division, he is for sure a legitimate threat to a lot of guys. Conor Ben is with the business.
Hey, does he beat Broner, dude?
He beats Broner.
Does he knock him out? Does he knock him out?
He knocks him out.
Really?
What do y'all think? Mike, what you say?
Nah, dude, I don't think Conor Ben. I don't think he knocks out Broner. Broner's got a good chin, dude.
I think Ben
he knocks out
suffers.
Broner.
I think he suffers. He suffers to make weight in the next 18 months, and then it's dangerous for him to start making 147. Similar to Brooks. Brooks was also a good fighter, but once again, dropping down in weight so much to have the physical advantage. Eventually, you can only do that but so long, and you're gonna have to go up and fight guys your size or bigger, and that's what raises the value of who you are to me. Where you have to adapt your style.
Nelson, if you look at Conor Ben so far, he's not active,
man.
What happened?
They're talking about Conor Ben's not really fought anybody, man. He's been fighting these guys, and let's be honest, Algieri was 37. Algieri was 37. Now he's talking about fighting Broner, who Broner's been washed up.
He's a 40 pounder. Broner's a 140 pounder.
Exactly.
So Ben is good, but this is what you're looking at right now is a junior middleweight. Then once he moves up to junior middleweight, if they do decide to move him up, because that was one of the things I think that hurt at Brook, was that I never wonder why didn't they move this kid up to junior middleweight. I mean, that's where he naturally belonged at.
And it's because that's why.
Correct. There we go. And this goes back to the culture of how boxing has been working for the last 20 years, which is a guy drives down to try to take physical advantage of a fighter, and what Canelo's bringing to the table. And I hate going back to him because I don't want to talk about him. I'm like the Ben conversation. I like the Khan conversation. We can talk about anyone, but is that he's turning that around. He's coming. He's the old saying of pick on someone's size or pick on him who's bigger. That's what he's doing. Pick on someone bigger than you. Let's see if these guys' styles can adapt to that kind of size advantage, because once you're giving off that kind of reach and size, a simple mistake will mean your head is coming clean off.
Look at the difference between Conor Ben and
profile picture. I like Rare Breed's profile picture because I think that guy's
He
gonna
got
be
boots
the
on there,
guy
don't he, boy?
that takes over the sport of boxing. Rare Breed's got the profile.
Who's
Rare
that
Breed's
guy?
profile picture is the guy that's gonna take over boxing. That name's Jaron Boots Ennis.
Yes,
Rare
sir.
Breed.
He got boots on there.
Look at the difference between Conor Ben, who he's calling out, versus Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis. Those guys are calling out champions and real
Yeah, but
contenders.
Rare
Hey,
Breed,
But
Conor
we
Ben's
ain't. But
not on their level.
this is what.
Rare Breed. If Rare Breed,
Go on.
Rare Breed, Boots Ennis, if Boots Ennis is the reason that
Go on, Mike.
that'll make you forget Floyd Mayweather, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, man. That was,
Wait, if what now?
If Boots Ennis would make you forget about Floyd Mayweather, then he's.
I'm saying jokingly, bro.
Hey man, he might.
If Boots Ennis, yeah.
No, Mike,
I'm
you gotta
that
be
high on
serious
Boots.
about
You know what
You
a
gotta be
common thing
serious,
is, bro,
brother.
that I was noticing right now that we were talking.
You got to be serious
Hey,
about
you know-
that, Mike. You can't
You know
keep
what's a
joking.
common thing that's sad, Imran, that we've been talking about is the fact that every time we bring up a fighter, we keep that guy fought. That's what we're living in right now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's we continue to bring
Yeah,
up these
man.
fighters
But the thing
because
is,
they have
that's
nothing
sad,
in their
man. That
resume,
is
so it
sad.
makes
That
it
is
extremely
sad.
hard. Yeah, to gauge the talent
Yeah.
like that, man. Because if they don't challenge themselves, if they don't put themselves out there, we're not, know who's the best. Like it's impossible.
A real,
That's the thing,
a
man.
real assessment with Ben. He does pretty good at welterweight. If they keep him there too long, he suffers Brooks kind of same situation. And if he moves up to 154, he becomes a regular guy.
Yeah, but Nelson, can we give Ben a little bit of credit because
I
there's
did.
not too many guys. No. What I'm saying is there's not too many guys who follow their father, who was a great fighter, who was successful, right? I'm talking about a great fighter, not like I
He
can't
looked
count.
patient. I
can't put Mayweather in there because his father wasn't a great fighter. I'm talking about a great fighter, and then their son follows them up. There's not too many guys
You ever
out
heard
there.
the old saying?
that-
You ever
that
heard
have-
the old saying
that
that
have-
giants have dwarfs for kids?
Sorry.
His father's a giant. His son will be a dwarf.
Also,
It's just the way it is, man.
Imran,
You
just
need
ask
that
a question. A quick
Yeah.
question.
Good.
If
He
Khan
looked pretty
versus
patient.
Brook,
I think he was comfortable. He was comfortable in there without jury, but he seems like the type of guy that the minute you make it a little bit uncomfortable for him, he might get a little lost there.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
we
I agree.
need to understand that. I've seen so many of these markets go up and down. It's just I
But-
know.
but-
I know
Nelson,
it's-
are they matching him carefully? Are they matching him so he looks good? That's what I'm asking.
Of
Personally,
course. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
Imran.
he's 25
Imran.
years old. Think about it.
Yeah.
25 years
Yeah.
old, and we're giving Canelo heat when he fought Floyd at 23.
Yeah.
Canelo fought the best pound for pound fighter in the world at 23, and we're celebrating Ben beating a 37-ounce jury.
But wait,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a little bit of
At
a
25.
difference. There's a little
At
bit of a difference.
25.
Canelo started boxing at 16. By the time he
Yeah.
fought Floyd, he was 42-0. He had already beaten Shane Mosley, I believe.
But once again, we get to the topic of this.
And he was a
Look, these
champion.
countries do not have the
Come on,
amateur
man.
circuit that European and American have. These
Yeah.
countries, these
Yeah, but
countries
Canelo-
are little
I'm just
bit-
saying, yeah, that's impressive about Canelo, but he definitely had more experience than Conor by the
It's
time he fought.
learning on the job.
But see,
It's
Rare
learning on the
Breed.
job.
But Rare
You know,
Breed.
it's learning. This is a
See,
different
Rare Breed.
place. of
This
learning.
is
And-
Colin.
Come on, can I
This
just
is-
finish my?
this is why you think Rare Breed we're Canelo fanboys, bro.
I call him.
Because we're doing countering what you're saying, dog. Things that are not. First of all, Canelo turned pro at 18, not 16, and
Are we gonna get back on
he
Canelo
did
now?
not have an
1 year
career,
difference.
He always.
bro.
He brought him
And
up.
that's
career.
the reason he
Canelo.
turned
He
pro.
did not
And the
have
reason
an
he
amateur career.
correct.
Okay.
This is the guy that skipped college and goes straight into the workforce and makes it from the bottom up, from the male department all the way to the top. That's that's rare. You know, he's learning in the job.
You know,
But
Nelson,
it's
can I just ask Imran a quick
yeah,
question?
yeah, go on.
Because the Khan and Brook sold out in 10 minutes and there was a 20,000 stadium, did they make a mistake of not putting that in
You
like
know
a
what?
Wembley? Because if
I
that sold
think
out in
so.
10 minutes for
I
20,000 tickets,
I think they underestimated.
yeah, yes.
You know what? I think you know what it is, Little Pen. The whole public were angry about this fight because they think they should have happened 6 years ago. So everybody now, and they underestimated how big the fight would be. So now the
Yeah, I
fight has
agree.
sold out. 20,000 tickets are sold out in 5 minutes, and they're like, "Oh, I reckon that I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised if they think let's do this in the summer, 60, 70,000 fans. You know what I mean? Because if they said there
Yeah.
was
There's nothing.
120,000 signups,
Or at the
There's nothing.
Manchester City Stadium, that new stadium, put it in there because that's like what that could fit 60,000 in there. Like don't change
yeah,
the date, just change the arena
The
and
venue.
whoever
Change the
they
venue.
can't
They
because it's
change.
winter, isn't it? February's winter.
Yeah, they have to. It's a lot of permits and stuff like that that goes into
You look at this
getting
bum
the
right here.
facilities, but it's definitely gonna sell a lot more than what people think because it's one of those old local
Yeah, you
squabbles.
look at
Man.
the bum.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't beat the old local guys
But-
going at it. You know, and these guys have
But
had it in for each other.
to sell out 20,000
But
tickets
let's not get it
in 10
twisted. The
minutes,
golden child is
that's
Khan.
that's
You know,
that's pretty impressive.
Hey y'all, I'm about to get up out of here, man. When we gonna go live again?
Soon, man. Friday, most likely.
Friday? Okay. Hey, little Penny, man. I'm gonna give you
Take care,
my
Steven.
my email address or something, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, sure. No problems. Why don't you respond to one of my and I'll give me your email address to what well, oh, hey, by the way, did you know that Jalen Rose filed for divorce from Molly? Did you know that?
Yeah, man. You know, his wife. I heard his wife was sleeping with Steve Smith. Did you hear about that, Mike?
Yeah.
Steve
Yeah, man.
Smith
I
from
think that's a rumor.
ESPN.
though. I don't think that's true.
Steve from
Yeah,
ESPN.
Stephen A.
Yeah.
Smith.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith.
Actually,
Oh, wow,
whilst we're on
that's-
this
that's-
Yeah, I
subject,
think that's
Imran, can I
true.
ask a quick question? And this is a highly sensitive question, and you might get upset about this because
Yeah.
Imran, Amir Khan is your favorite.
Yeah,
fighter.
about what? About AJ?
Yeah, is that true?
No,
Like
no,
4
no,
years
that's
ago?
rubbish. That's rubbish.
Is it?
Yeah,
Because,
basically that was
AJ was asked that question, I think, on BBC, and he
Yeah.
said, "Oh, why do I keep getting these questions about blah blah blah?"
yeah, it's
But
rubbish,
so there is
man.
something there. So what happened? You tell us.
Basically, it was just a misunderstanding. You know, I don't want to talk about people's wives and stuff because it's very sensitive. You know what I mean? But that was nonsense. That was rubbish. That wasn't true.
Okay.
Because basically that was just a misunderstanding, really. And to be honest with you, it got quite serious. It got quite
Yeah, it
serious
did.
because AJ, it got quite serious, man. Legal and stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah. I don't think he liked the fact that he was accused. You're like that stuff like that's very sensitive, man, because you're it's like defamation of character, you know what I mean? You're ruining someone's media, it's dangerous, man. It's not a good, and you're accusing someone of stuff
That's
like
boxing gossip for you. You know, it's something that's ruining. Well, it's not ruining it, but you got a lot of these boxing channels out here. They're not really informative about the history or the way the game goes. They're more gossipers. It's all gossip.
The
You know,
LGBT community.
yeah, it's all gossiping, and he said, she said. Nobody's confirming anything, and anybody believes anything. You know.
Man, tomorrow my birthday,
you put
man.
facts and 100%
Happy
next to it,
birthday,
and
man.
Hey,
How old
happy
are you?
birthday,
Hey,
dude.
Steven.
Oh, well, I appreciate it, guys. I really do, man.
Happy birthday,
I mean,
Steven.
What's the lucky
Happy
number?
birthday.
What's the lucky number?
I'll be 43, man.
You're 18 or what? dog?
43.
Yeah,
Oh, hey,
I'll
dude, we're
turn
the same
18. Now I'll be
age. Hey,
43.
Steven,
Yes,
we're the
sir.
same age. I'm 43 as well.
Yeah. When is your birthday?
February.
Yo,
Mike,
you guys
Mike,
make
when
me
is your
feel
birthday?
young, man. You guys
My
making me
birthday's
feel
in
young,
May,
like a
dog.
schoolboy.
How old are you,
Imran, how old are
Imran?
you?
29.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mike,
you
Hey,
how
we
old
young,
are
gotta
you?
you a
start. We
youngster
gotta
too.
start Imran, man, for all this boxing knowledge, man.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Hell, 40. You guys, that's why when you talk about like the 1990s and stuff, you guys would have been watching that
Yes,
era. That
right.
was the era I was like born. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why
I'm
that
I'm
stuff
I'm
Hey, Mike,
38.
how old are you?
I'm 38, bro.
Okay.
fair enough.
But I'm about to get up out of here, man. We've been on here talking about Canelo
38,
and,
dog. So
and
so
Mayweather. We
I
done.
get it. Like when you see.
Go on, Mike.
Yeah, I get you. Oh no. I thought Steven was.
What happened, Mike?
He was gonna clock out.
Yeah.
No. Go ahead. I want to hear what you say before I go.
No, I was just gonna say that's why a lot of us have different opinions because we've seen more eras. I guess you could say we've watched boxing longer. So when you get to see more and you get to live the time, it's much different than watching YouTube videos and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So
true.
So my perspective is gonna be different on Floyd, on someone like, for example, even though I like him, I know Rare Breed thinks I hate him. I don't hate Floyd. I'm not passionate about an individual fighter. I'm passionate about topics like making comparisons. That's what I don't like. That's when I kind of come out and I try to counter certain guys because they use different stats. But it's not about an individual fighter, bro. When you've seen boxing for for as long as I've seen Steven and even other people that have seen longer perspective on things, bro. Like when you're already this age, dog, you know what I mean? You what you want to see guys, you want to see guys prove themselves and then based on greatness, but it's really like, dog, what you value, and that's really what it comes down to. I don't like this whole this guy's greater than this guy down because he lost, or this guy this. Boxing is a tough ass sport. We got these guys a lot of respect. That's what I like about boxing, man. There's greatness. Greatness comes in different forms, man. That's the way I look at it.
Sure. Hey, Imran, and where is Ray? By the way, Ray used to be here all the time. What happened to him?
I don't know. I think he comes on. I don't know why. Maybe he didn't know. I should have told him before that I was doing live.
But even in Last Bell Boxing, he's not there either. So I'm just worried. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether he's. I don't know. Speak to him.
Well, he was in the comments the other day, man. Just the other day, Lil Penny. So he good and everything. But when me and you was we were over in last boxing channel, he wasn't over there. So, but he good. I think he good because he asked Imran to do like a little interview with us and stuff.
I like his boxing knowledge as well.
Yeah, he knows his
Hey,
stuff.
man, I appreciate everybody telling me happy birthday, man. I appreciate y'all in the chat, man. I'm about to be out though.
Yeah, man. Happy birthday,
Steve,
man.
Yes, sir.
Steve, are you going to Las Vegas to a girls' collection, or how are you going to celebrate that?
Nah, man, shit. I'll be right here in OKC, man.
Oh, okay, all right.
Steve is married, man.
Yeah.
Are you married?
Yeah. See.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that.
All right, man. But I'll see y'all later, man.
Take care, Steven, man.
All right, bet.
Take care, guys. Man.
Hey, what's your? Can I get people's take on Khan Brook? Who do you think? I have Khan winning a knockout in the 6th round.
What weight class are they fighting at?
147.
Super welterweight.
Okay.
No, it's 149.
It's 149, yeah. So it's like welterweight, really.
Super welterweight.
Last time I saw Brook at 147, he looked drained.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Khan should win that.
yeah, I agree too. But will Khan
He
fight
gets
Ben?
overwhelmed. He gets overwhelmed within 4 to 5 rounds,
Yeah,
and
I agree.
he realizes that Khan uh, was never intimidated or scared of him. Or he finds out why Khan is the golden boy, and he's the guy in the alley.
See, guys like Kell Brook is why people don't take risks. What did Kell Brook? What did Kell Brook gaining from going up and fighting Triple G?
He gained being able to lose to someone, have a great excuse.
No, I think it was a payday,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Was it the
That
pay?
was, you know,
Like
He
I
sold
think
his
so.
career away. That
Yeah,
yeah.
his whole career was always based around Khan. I mean, that's pretty much it, right?
But
Instead of
Imran, so did Khan when he fought Canelo. He shouldn't have been in the ring
no,
with
but the
Canelo.
thing is with Khan,
No,
yeah,
but
Khan
it's
should have
different.
never done that. Khan should have never fought Canelo. But Khan had a great career prior to fighting Canelo. He had already fought a lot of good
Yeah.
fighters. Whereas
No,
Brook,
but Khan's an
that
A-lister. Khan is supposed to fight Canelo. He's an A-lister. It's not the same. Brook is not an A-lister. He's not
Yeah,
supposed to.
but not a
He's
not a
supposed to
middleweight.
build. He's supposed to build a career to be able to do something like that.
Yeah,
Brook
but dude,
didn't
not a
build a
middleweight.
career to the
Not a
point where he was
middleweight,
able to
man.
do
Not
it.
a middleweight. Dude, they fought at 155.
You know,
Khan
whereas
doesn't even belong in
Khan doing it with Canelo is more. It was more it was more natural to do that because, you know, he's already faced all the challenges in his career, and he wants to go ahead and give it a shot. He took a shot at it. Where I believe that Khan went in believing that he can win the fight, whereas Brook went in just to be competitive. You know, I don't think Brook really ever believed he can beat Triple G. Whereas Khan, I think he did think he can probably, you know, take it to the scorecards and squeeze in maybe a win. He believed more he can win.